What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And I'm Diggins over here.
Oh my god, that was so loud. This is mostly nitpicking, a podcast where
that was very
part of a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woo! That was so loud. Discord clipped in the middle of it because it was like, you don't want to hear this whole sound. We're gonna do you a kindness.
Don't worry, listeners are getting that full solid bar on my recording.
Nice.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
No, that's true. This week, in honor of the movie that's out and the voices we did and stuff, we are talking about The Batting Gentleman, the final movie. No. There's another DC movie this year.
Bat.
Yeah. He's back, baby, or he's here, but he, he's doing his thing, so we're going to talk about it. Before that, how are you fellas doing?
Not too bad. I saw this movie Friday night, so I remember parts of it for sure. Not to say it wasn't a memorable movie, but there's a lot of specifics that my brain just kind of smoothed over while, trying to do math and stuff.
DJ's laying the groundwork for when we inevitably accuse him of not watching the movie.
I definitely watched the movie in its entirety and did not fall asleep at parts because, it happens.
Well, we'll see what those parts are later on. Diggins, what about you? How you doing?
I'm good. I watched this movie today, as is my wont.
Samesies.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I've only just, since we last recorded, I've pretty much spent all of that time between then and now playing more Elden Ring. So,
jealous.
I'm pretty deep in there.
Don't lie, Diggins. All that time up into including this point right now, which you are playing Elden Ring.
You can check my Steam if you want.
Is he?
Oh, please.
Could you hide that though? You got to be able to hide that, right?
Oh yeah, I could be invisible right now, and you would never know.
Nice.
Yep, it's true.
Speaking of things that could be invisible, and all kinds of other superpowers too. I don't know. Dr. Fate can be invisible, right? We got to talk about DC movies, you guys. They all They did a musical chairs. The Mad Hatter was changed places, and they all moved.
Is he in the next Batman movie?
He could be. He could be. I'm not against it. Not against it. That'd be so funny though. I didn't look in the background of shots, but there was just somebody with a massive hat who was 3 feet tall, and it was oh, he's there too. Good for him. But yeah. Speaking of DJ being wrong about predictions, you guys, DC.
Guys.
Now, to be fair to DJ, they moved 2 of the movies, but replaced them with 1. So we are still getting 3 DC movies this year, counting the one we just got.
Yeah.
And those 3 are...
So here's the thing. We got The Flash moved to February, March, April, May, June. Okay, June 23rd of next year. So that's 6 months. Anyone want to take a guess how many times that movie's release date has moved?
7.
Is it I was just going to say 3, but...
9. It is the from Morbius. Yes. Yeah.
Do you have them all?
There was a tweet that I had before that I could find.
I have not. I just be curious to see what the genesis of when this movie was supposed to come out versus when it's going to come out. And
mid 2018 was, I believe, the original date.
Oh my god!
Wow,
yeah.
That's crazy.
This movie's gonna be so good, you guys.
Yeah, it is. It has been pushed back more than 5 years since its original release date, and this one they say is COVID, and I believe them mostly because I think this. I think when we were talking about these predictions, I was like, "There's no way that Aquaman movie comes out this year." I did think The Flash probably would, so I was wrong about that. But yeah, so that is June of 2013, 2023.
2023.
Yeah.
Unless it's true Flashpoint, we go back in time to 2013.
Yeah.
And
that would be the best way to release a Flashpoint movie is to go back in time and have released it 10 years ago.
They should do that. Oh, and I guess there is another DC movie if you count the one with the Pets one. Where the dogs are stuff.
DC superhero pets?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
I don't know.
Dwayne Johnson?
Dwayne Johnson, the movie. Yeah, exactly. Starring the Super Pets. So we got The Flash. Aquaman 2, March 17th of 2023. Which I think is interesting because I feel like that in the schedule was after Flash. You know? Like, I feel like it used to be Batman, Shazam, or not Shazam, Black Adam, Flash, Aquaman. Now they have switched places. So anyway, Wonka, not a superhero movie, but on this list, is end of next year. The Meg 2, August of next year. And then Shazam 2 is moving to December of this year. So I believe that was supposed to be March of last year. Or next year. So I feel like the Shazam 2 will probably be better than those other two. So it almost makes your case stronger.
I mean, it's hard because at this point it's the relative game where I need Marvel to be bad and DC to be on this kind of ascendancy. Because we'll talk about Batman, obviously, but I think Peacemaker was generally seen as good. So
yeah, it was like about as good as like Falcon and Winter Soldier. It was at that level, you know, the highest of caliber.
What a monster! Are we getting another DC shows this year? Like a new season of Titans or whatever?
I think there's currently one going. I also think Harley Quinn the cartoon is maybe supposed to come back, but I don't know if that is.
I'm using that.
Okay.
So,
but that's not DCEU, right? Is that? Or did you just say DC?
I think I just said DC, yeah. But we can check the real thing. But regardless,
check the tape.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, if only we had recorded this conversation so we could go back and see what you said.
I know. I'll check the tape. But I was gonna say it's like related to this, Nando. I'm sure you guys, because Nando, you talked about this before your showing of the Batman. You got like not a trailer, but like a promo on how hype the DCEU is gonna be in 2022.
Yeah,
like that hype trailer for too. Like,
yep, this is their year.
It was nuts that like they were hyping us. So for I don't know anyone like didn't see the Batman. Like there was this. It's not a trailer. It's like a promo like you would see in like professional wrestling. That was like 2022. 4 blockbuster DC movies are coming out. The Batman, Aquaman 2, Shazam, not Shazam, Black Adam, and Flashpoint. And they were all clips from each of them. And it was like, the DCEU will never be the same. And it was just like this little thing.
Not even the same as what they told us it would be in that trailer.
Yeah, you know? I guess they were right.
They changed it.
It is already not the same.
Yeah, they won.
Do you guys go to AMC to watch your movies?
Nah, I go to Regal usually.
Yeah, Regal's the one in my apartment.
So maybe people who are listening to AMC, are you familiar with like the little, like, I don't know if you've like seen this on Twitter, because I think I've seen it on Twitter before, but it's like a little AMC promo before you watch the movie.
Are you talking about the greatest movie of 2021, Nicole Kidman's minute-long spot about the movies?
Yes, I forgot it was Nicole Kidman. Thank you.
Describe this to me.
You got to look this up. So it's like
heartbreak Nicole feels Kidman's good in a place like this, Nando.
Oh my god, I can't believe you haven't seen this. So Nicole Kidman is walking through like the nicest AMC that doesn't exist anywhere. Like I don't know where this fictional AMC is that like she's in, but it's the nicest one ever. And it goes into an empty movie theater. It's got her big old thing of popcorn. She's like, movies transform us on a big silver screen. Somehow, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. AMC, we make movies better. And you just have to watch this for a minute anytime you go to see an AMC movie. And I'm so done with it. I'm done with Nicole Kidman. I'm done with AMC promos. I'm ready to take my business elsewhere, if I'm being frank about it. It's so bad.
DJ,
available.
But DJ, have you considered that we come to this place for magic? We come to AMC theaters to laugh, to cry, to care, because we need that, all of us. That indescribable feeling we get when the lights begin to dim and we go somewhere we've never been before. Not just entertained, but somehow reborn, together. Dazzling images on a huge silver screen. Sound that I can feel. Somehow, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Our heroes feel like the best parts of us, and stories feel perfect and powerful. Because here, they are.
Because here, fortune favors the bold or brave.
And then AMC, we make movies better. The biggest irony in this is like the one part that Dickens said, when the lights begin to dim and like they dim in the thing. But like here you are in the theater looking at like the brightest lights on the screen and like the Batman movie is starting and just someone shouts like from the back, yo, the lights are still on, because like the lights are still on. Like it's just the worst.
Listen, she said they would begin to dim, okay? She didn't say they would be dim. She said it would start.
It's just like, oh my God. I dropped a link, Nando, for you to watch at some point
I see it.
in the chat.
I feel like I mostly got it, but I'll put it on silent mode.
Oh, believe me, Mrs. Kidman does a far better job than I ever could.
Did she do it in an Australian or in an American accent?
She is doing
like
an
mix.
Australian accent, and it sounds weird.
Oh, good. She's Aquaman's mommy, and that movie isn't coming out this year. So theater is looking good next year. I'm Nicole Kidman.
Oh man.
Maybe that was why they couldn't finish it. Was because she kept having a heartbreak in the movie, and they were like, "Jesus, Nicole Kidman, stop getting so emotional."
But it felt good in a place like that.
Oh no, Nicole Kidman, you don't understand. You've ruined this movie. Yeah, she's cool.
I guess my point is between the not Batman, like the DC promo and the AMC promo, I'm done with promos. Like I'm about to start showing up to movies late so I can avoid promos. There's too many promos. There was that one point, like I feel like last year for all the movies where before you watch the movie, the director had to thank you for coming to see the movie. Like that I was sick of.
Yep.
I think we've gotten mostly past that. But you guys know what I'm talking about? Where just every movie we were being thanked for seeing the movie by the director.
Absolutely. And I mean,
honestly, I would like it if I was in my daily life just thanked more for doing things I was going to do anyway.
Yeah. By a famous man with a gun to his head. Like,
thank you for doing this podcast, Diggins.
Really, you got. I mean, it is kind of incredible that I've never just not done one of these.
That's true. And DJ, thank you for thanking Diggins for about the podcast. That was good.
Oh, Nando, thank you.
Speaking of things I am thankful for, you guys.
Yeah.
Next bit of news, and this isn't the Kenobi one. Although, speaking of planets made of sand, we're getting a movie,
Okay.
A little movie called Dune 2. Did you guys see who was cast in it the other day?
This is all news
I
to
can't
me.
remember who
Marvel's own Florence Pugh.
Yes, Florence
going to be
Pugh
one of them.
Is Princess Irulan.
I don't know who that
Princess
is.
Yeah,
Irulan.
who's that? What's her deal? I mean, don't spoil it, but like, generally, what's the vibe of that one?
So she is more in books that are not the first book, which is the only one I've read. But she is one of the daughters of the Emperor. The chapter breaks in the book are actually excerpts of books she has written about Paul Atreides in the future, which is interesting. And to tell you what her role in the plot is beyond that would be a spoiler.
Oh.
Gotcha. She gonna be doing that Russian accent she's so good at?
I mean, she could be. It's space. Who knows what crazy accents they have in space?
They say her Russian accent is actually pretty good. I've heard people say that. Russian people or accent people. I don't know if that's true, but that is what I've heard. Good for her. But yeah, they're making another Dune movie. We're finally getting casting for it. You think we're gonna get the sexy guy, the Stings guy soon? The guy played by Sting who like doesn't wear clothes? Yeah.
I don't know. Is that something that I want?
Of course it is. Yeah. I feel like that's the casting thing that I am hearing, that I'm like awaiting, because it was like out of things from the first movie, like the original Dune, I think it was probably the first time they took a shot at making that movie. That he was in there and he was a big part of it. And I kept wondering which of these characters is going to be him. And it turned out none of them. So I imagine he's going to show up in this movie. And I imagine besides Florence Pugh, he is going to be a big casting thing that they're going to make a big deal out of. So I don't know who that is.
I guess we'll
Diggins,
find
who
out.
do you
I
think
can't
it should
imagine
be?
who would be like the big get. Yeah,
Remind me
I've
what
heard
character we're
rumors.
talking about?
He's another Baron Harkonnen friend. And he...
Oh, Fade Routha.
Yeah, that sounds right. That guy. But yeah, I can tell you who I think it is, but I want to hear your guesses first.
He's supposed to be a somewhere along the line of a supple young boy.
Yeah, there you go. Just like
Timothée
Sting.
Chalamet. Just like Sting. Sting, the supple young boy.
Sting in 1980, just a young, supple 40-year-old man.
Maybe now that he's back doing blockbusters, we'll get a Robert Pattinson taking on the new emo waif in Ritual Combat.
So, I don't think, from what I've heard, you're not too far off.
It's Kristen Stewart.
No. See, Diggins, you made a grave error in your thinking about this, because you see, I imagine this character's a villain, So if you want to put a villain in a movie late in the game, who shows up like close to the end, and it's like, ooh, that guy, very exciting. You get Barry Keoghan, and I have heard rumors that it's him. And I think he'd probably be good at it. Like, he's a good actor. I like him at stuff. But yeah,
Eternal Zone?
Eternals is a Druig, the Druig, and nothing else. Wow. He's never been in another movie since or before.
Can I throw one out there?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Christoph Waltz.
Oh, that would be terrific. Young, supple boy, Christoph Waltz.
Listen. I'm just saying, late game villain.
You're saying like a James Bond, yeah.
Could we CGI him into young supple boy?
I've already got the files on my computer. You guys didn't know this, but I've been working on this for a while.
I have noticed that
finally catching
that
up
folder
to the demand.
on your desktop that says Christoph Waltz, young supple boy. I just never questioned it.
I'll be honest, I got a lot of it. A lot of it came from Quibi. Thank you, Quibi. A lot of the footage that I used, and a lot of the footage came from Alita Battle Angel, where he had that big giant pickaxe or whatever, and swung it around like a marionette. Like, that was helpful for me in choreographing what a young boy. Oh my god, yeah. We are in trouble. We're all gonna go to jail for this one, boys. We're gonna get vengeance.
I mean, we're definitely already on an FBI watch list for saying young supple boy so many times.
Yeah.
Oh, this is over.
That's fun.
I guess if, because you said James Bond, and we could just do an even later game and do Rami Malek, who could at least probably be more of a young supple boy.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if we want Hollywood's favorite young boy, we got Tom Holland right there, That's
true.
If this was a Sony movie, you better believe he would be in there somewhere.
He probably would have been Paul Atreides.
Yeah, that's true. Because him and Zendaya are dating in real life. You know that, right? Yeah. Right. That needs to come through in all of the screenings and stuff. Well, it's off. Not for publicity, though.
Because Tom Holland isn't capable of acting like he's dating someone unless he really is. That's why there was no love interest in Uncharted. They couldn't get Zendaya, and every time they tried to pair him up with a love interest, he was like, I don't know how to do the smooches if it's not my real life girlfriend.
Smoochies.
Oh my goodness. Oswald, you're here? You made it to this recording? I was hoping we'd hear from you at some point.
Yeah, that's right. It's me, boys, Oswald Cobblepot. But let's hold off for a second. I'll come by a little bit later when it makes a little more sense.
Yeah. Last thing before we get to that, speaking of little boys on sand planets, they're making an Obi-Wan Kenobi show. You guys watched the trailer. I made you watch it. It's got all the stuff you want. What'd you think?
Nando, I think you said it would have all the stuff I want, and I didn't see a single frame of a CGI abomination of a beloved classic character talking about Baby Yoda and not the plot of this show. So,
fantastic.
I mean, you kind of almost did, maybe. With the Inquisitors, those are beloved classic characters. Maybe that. One of them might be Han Solo himself from Fast and Furious, his own. I believe he is in this movie, and I think he is one of the Inquisitors. Did we talk about that? His name is Han Solo because that movie is good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I think that turns out to be fake, and he has a real name later.
That's bullshit. I don't accept it. They're bad now. Did that come from one of the less good ones? Because 3 is the best one, and I think he has said that in interviews. I don't think it's ever canonized. But yeah.
I think it shows up on screen once. It's like you see like his passport or something that someone is scanning, and it says Han Solo. But I feel like in some movie or in some supplemental material or something, they were like, his real name's Han Lu.
That makes sense, because in the more recent one, his sister was part of it, right? Or something. That was a big plot device, so yeah, we probably got more information. Remember that movie came out last year? What happened to that?
How could I forget?
Yeah. But guys, speaking of movies that came out this year, boy did they. We got a movie! It's got Batman in it. He's returned to the silver screen for the only time. No, not the only time this year, because he'll be in Super Pets, but for one of the only times this year. We were going to have 4 Batman on screen this year if they were able to make that Flash movie happen. Can you imagine? Oh my God, that would have been incredible. But guys, we're talking about the Batman.
All right.
So
Diggins,
this is
you're in charge
1989's Tim Burton movie. We're doing this a third time?
Oh, no,
we're doing
Diggins.
The Batman.
We're doing
This is
the
different.
Batman, not a Batman, which is what that one is retroactively known as, I believe. Just the Batman. You want to watch a Batman? Yeah.
Was this named so that when, like, you know, like old people put the in front of everything, like the Facebook and like the TikTok and everything? Did they name this one the Batman? Because it's like, oh, if an old person goes, hey, did you see the Batman? It's like, oh, they're right. They are not incorrect. They're just putting the in front of every noun that there is.
That's true. I think that's probably why. Diggins, do you have a better
Matt
reason?
Reeves is so generous.
Yeah.
I think that it's for easier translation into the Spanish market.
Oh my
Because
God, that's
you
a big
usually want-
problem.
Yeah, you make sure you get the right gender of the definite article, though. Very
That's a
important.
good point. I think it's probably because, I don't know. In the first one, he says, I'm Batman. Does this guy say I'm the Batman in this movie at all?
He at one point says, it's the end of the Batman.
Yeah, so there you go. Each movie has to be titled whatever comes out of Batman's mouth when he says the word Batman for the first time. So it's like, Batman returns to the crime, and like, I want to be Batman forever. That's how they do it. So this one, he probably
The
said
Batman
that,
has
and then they went,
returned.
well, I guess that's what it's called. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's why the other one, he's like, I would love to watch the Lego Batman movie, but
That's why at one point when they're doing the training montage, Christopher Nolan turns to Michael Caine and says, well, Alfred, we really are the Batman Begins now.
yeah, that would be good. But we are talking about the Batman, the Batman movie that came out this year. You guys, it's directed by Matt Reeves. It stars all those people that we're going to talk about. But Diggins, you have an honor to bestow upon the listeners and myself and DJ.
That's right.
Would you like to explain it?
If you've never been here before, because we're so good at recruiting new listeners, we do a little game around here called the IMDb, B as in spelling bee, where my two esteemed co-hosts here are going to have to guess what the summary on IMDb that was constructed by forcing all of the interns to throw darts at a board they've made that has every word in the English language. And then just kind of randomly arranging all of the words they hit. So I have that summary up right here in front of me.
Incredible.
And so I believe last week's loser of the game was Nando, which means he gets to pick
Finally.
whether he goes first or second.
I'm going to go first.
Okay.
I'm going to say, so I was thinking about this on the ride home. After, let's say, in the wake of a string of serial killings by the mysterious Riddler, Bruce Wayne must work with some unlikely allies and solve the riddles to save Gotham. Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay. All right. DJ?
All right. A young Bruce Wayne who has been patrolling the streets of Gotham for a year as the Batman must face his toughest challenge yet when he must take down the mysterious Riddler, who has conducted a string of murders while also dealing with Gotham's underground criminal syndicates.
Ooh.
We
Neither
both
of
did
you
so bad you can't decide.
You both did so bad, but I think Nando did a little bit less bad.
I love to hear
womp,
it.
Womp womp.
Womp 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 in pomp and like in happy. Womp womp womp.
Womp 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 for you.
Yeah.
Nando got one phrase.
I'm going to bet it's serial killer. Is that it?
That's correct.
I felt really good about that one. Yeah.
And also, you kind of, sort of have the structure of the first part correct, although you then veered wildly off course.
Much like a certain movie we may talk about later tonight.
Wow. Well, DJ, you had no phrases, and you didn't really have the structure either. So,
let's hear it.
The actual summary, as determined by the intern dartboard at IMDb, is when the Riddler, a sadistic serial killer, begins murdering key political figures in Gotham, Batman is forced to investigate the city's hidden corruption and question his family's involvement.
Family's the family's involvement's actually interesting that they threw that in the summary.
Yeah, that is interesting they threw that in the summary.
Well, it's just where the darts landed, guys,
I know, it's not
have
right.
no control over it.
Well, we said through that in the summary. Like, interesting the dart managed to make it all the way to that part of the dartboard, because they threw it. So as the winner, I get to go first in my saying if I like the movie or not. And you guys, I think the Batman is pretty good, maybe great, and it's good. It's very good. But also it's way too long, and there's way too much going on for me, honestly. Like, it's not that there's too much going on. It is that I think some of the movie's more interesting ideas get lost through all of the rest of it. I liked pretty much everything visually about this movie. I think the writing was pretty tight in terms of like dialogue and like the plot that was the main plot. And I understand why it had to be personal. Like, I understand why it had to have that connection to the Waynes, but there was a point maybe like 2/3 of the way through where I was like, what are we even doing? Like, not like what are we doing in terms of like, I don't know who any of these guys are, but just like, where is this going? I think the ending was okay, but I don't think I don't know. It felt a little strange. It felt like the movie wanted to be one movie at the wanted to like really emulate one comic book at the very end. But I don't think they've really made it to that. But overall, I think it's pretty good. I think Pattinson was very good. Everybody really in the cast was a very good, well-cast version of those guys. I think it's funny how much for me the actual, like, the character that I was the least excited about leaving the movie was the Riddler. I was like, oh yeah, he was in this, but he was okay. But everybody else, I'm like, they really did a good job. So overall, good stuff. Pretty cats. Liked all the cats. It was cool.
Nando, your toxoplasmosis gets worse every week.
I can't remember what that is. What is that?
It's that parasite that lives in cats' poop that makes you love cats.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, the more cats are in a movie, the more I'm gonna like it. That's why I liked Uncharted a little bit, and this movie a lot. And
Cats is your favorite movie of all time.
Cats was way up there. Yep. I'm trying to think of what other movies we've talked about recently. Turning Red, I'm not sure about yet. It looks like a cat, but it's not a cat.
And Dog, you just hated.
Oh my God, couldn't do Dog. Power of the Dog, no cats in that. Any of those movies that are for, Kevin Costner to pet a dog in, don't like them. So yeah. So that's my Catwoman, that's my Batman stuff. Let's go to Diggins. What do you think of this movie?
Well, traditionally, the other IMDb'sman gets to go. So, DJ, why don't you tell us
I thought it was
feel?
DJ. Or yeah, you're right.
I understand.
I got you confused.
Great. I very similar to Nando. I really enjoyed it. It's not my favorite, I don't think, but it's close. I thought that Matt Reeves did a really good job, like, capturing like a very specific like Batman and a vision for it, and like to put it in a very specific, like, I want a Batman who is kind of reclusive and is like kind of bad at his job, but is like very specific in this one way. And it's like, it was very consistent for me. I said this on Twitter yesterday because I was throwing out Batman takes while The Bachelor was on. I think the one thing that I find interesting about this specific Batman, and I did like Rob Bats a lot. I liked all of the performances. I thought they were all really, even Paul Dano, like the like, we'll talk about it, but like the prison scene, I thought that scene was like really good. I thought that scene was better than like the Joker interrogation scene in Dark Knight. But I feel like the one thing with this Batman where it's a flaw, and it's not like a movie problem, it's a DCEU problem, but I feel like there's no way to make like this Batman like a recurring Batman who ever teams up with anybody and is like a Batman who would work in the DCEU. Like, this might be my most fire take. I don't I don't know if this take is like super hot or not, but I feel like Batfleck was like the closest thing to that, where like that is a Batman who we could put in the DCEU and be like a DCEU Batman, and it's like definitely not this Batman, right? But maybe it's the thing like with like the Joker, right? Like that Joker's not one who's gonna like reign forever. But I mean, this movie we might be setting up future stuff. Who knows? But like overall, to like specifically talk about the movie, I thought it was done really well. Like I said, I liked all the performances. I agree that the ending for me, I felt was the weakest part. I just thought that a lot of it was extraneous and they were trying to cram a lot into one thing. And I don't think we needed it all there. It's unfortunate because like it's a Warner Brothers DC movie. So we have to end with like, it's no longer like a skybeam, right? It's just like whatever the crash, crash, bang, bang, like whatever thing we have to fight is. And I think the choice that this movie picked was like interesting and kind of jarring, but like that wasn't the problem for me. It was just kind of like the length and the meandering and the, you know, unnecessary character conversations that we really didn't need to have and the unnecessary characters that we didn't really need to have. But still, as like an overall movie, I thought this was definitely successful and I enjoyed most of it.
Yeah, you know what this reminds me of before we get to Diggins' thing, where you're talking about your Skybeam thing, is for me feels a lot like Dark Knight, where it's like all of the stuff you remember about that movie is in the beginning and middle, and then at the end, you're like, what happens at the end? Oh, yeah, it goes on a building and fights a bunch of guys with guns, and it's like, that's not that interesting, but it is in
like
there.
That's when the boat happens. Everyone remembers the boats.
I feel like the boats, I don't know. I mean, they're in there, but the whole, like, actual action scene of the end of it, where it does feel like the Skybeam, where they're like, we got to do a big action scene, fights guys with guns. It's always like, I don't know. That's the least memorable action scene for me in this movie and in The Dark Knight. Anyway, Diggins, what are your thoughts on this one?
Guys?
Yeah?
Oh?
I think this might be the best Batman movie.
Wow. I don't think that's crazy, actually.
Yeah, I mean, might is definitely correct. Like,
I haven't watched The Dark Knight in a long time. I need to rewatch that one. It's the only one I can think of that I would be like, maybe that one's better.
I think Batman Begins for me works better than Dark Knight as just like a Batman movie. So for me, I think The Dark Knight might be the best movie, but I think Batman Begins is the best Batman movie. And I also think this movie is right at there. Like, they're so tied for me. But anyway, sorry, go on.
I get where you guys are coming from when you talk about like the ending and everything. And there's definitely, especially the very ending, when the movie goes full Return of the King and ends like 4 times.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
That's not great. But for the most part, like the like climax part of it still worked for me and everything. And more importantly for me, this movie is a whole ass mood. Like, visually, they nail the look of like realistic but dark and gothic and melodramatic Batman in a way that I don't think any of these other movies have ever done. Like, the Tim Burton movies do have this nice, like, exaggerated, cartoony gothic aesthetic to them, which works pretty well. Although, again, I think the animated series really perfected that initial vision. But this just like seedy, like 70s neo-noir kind of thing, constantly raining, bright lights against darks and dark shadows and everything. It's just, it's so visually appealing. It's such great like design. You know what I mean? It's not like they made really cool sets or whatever, although I'm sure they did. It's that everything has this identifiable look to it. Everything is like composed in a way that I think is incredible. The soundtrack is killer. Just like the motifs they set up and the way they constantly reinvent them and change them as the movie evolves over the 3 hours is just like they're like stuck in my head. This movie is dripping with style in a way that so few comic book movies are anymore, and I can't help but love it for that. Like I like the plot and everything too. I like the acting. The acting's great. Robert Pattinson is very good Batman. Zoe Kravitz kills it. I even like I'm with you, DJ. Like I don't think Paul Dano is like the best part of the movie, but I think when he needs to turn it on, like, or else the scene doesn't work, he always nails it. So yeah, it's just I just love the style, the mood, the vibe, whatever you want to call it. This movie brings so much of it that I just feel like a lot of these big blockbusters just don't anymore, and I loved it.
So I think Diggins, for me, and we talked about this, I think, with it's escaping me, when I was like, get a director who's The Matrix, right? Where it's like, get a director who's really into it. I think like Matt Reeves had that vision and had that idea for what he wanted from a Batman movie. Reminds me of a certain Rian Johnson.
Or Zachary Snyder, speaking of vibes. Yeah.
But okay, I mean, like, no, fair point, Nando. Like, honestly, like, I will take that point. But I think like with these superhero movies, it's like we probably would have gotten like a better Ant-Man movie if Edgar Wright was allowed to do it, right? Like, I think like we need to get to this point where it's like there are directors who probably have these like really interesting visions for these superhero movies that aren't just like these like generic like painted over blockbusters, and those make for like better movies. I was joking with my cousin because like AMC has their dumb like AMC artisan movies, like they label movies artisan.
Yeah.
And, like they labeled the Batman like an AMC artisan movie, which is so stupid on its face. But like, I don't know, I just think the idea that like we might be able to like evolve superhero movies just like a little bit. It's like we probably need a little more like Matt Reeves and maybe even Zack Snyder's. I'm not even saying no to that, but I just think it's like healthy to like have that for these kind of movies.
I mean, yeah, I feel like Marvel's last one, right, was like, well, I guess Spider-Man is technically Sony, but like Eternals, I feel like has that same kind of like director doing the directoriness of it. I don't think it's as good of a movie, but it also visually. As I said in our Eternals episode, it feels like
the director bringing their point of view and like their aesthetic and whatnot to that movie feels like it is constantly being attempted to strangle in the cradle by executives. That was my main feeling in that movie.
Yeah, I would generally disagree, but I think like I think there's some aspects of this movie that I'm like, this was very, very, very well done. Parts of filmmaking and movie and stuff. I think my thing with it is I just wish there were I don't want to say more constraints from a studio level, but I just wish it wasn't 3 hours long.
Sure.
That's my only big problem with it. And I think the 3 hours long is like, well, where's the extra half hour? And it's just stuff that kind of takes time to do that isn't really that important in general. But I mean, we'll talk about it. But yeah, so this movie, it's got Robert Pattinson in it. He's from Twilight. We talked about that last time, or 2 times ago, or whatever. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that like at this point it's a joke to talk about like Batman voice, I'm Batman. But like I didn't mind like the opening like 7-minute, however long like narration of like Robert Pattinson, like the Bruce Wayne Batman. It's like I propose the streets. I am vengeance. I'm a symbol. Blah blah blah. I'm like, this is fine. Like Batman's not gonna sound like a normal dude. Like even like, and it's a joke, right? But like Lego Batman is like Will Arnett kind of doing his like gruffy kind of voice. Like I think it's just kind of expected that like Batman kind of sounds this way, and it's fine. And I think that he like mostly gets like with this version of the Batman. So
I feel he is the emo teen Batman. He's He's the brooding Batman, which is what you kind of seemed like it was going to be when they cast Robert Pattinson and released photos of him having, like, thrown an entire package of mascara out on his face.
Yeah.
And I think he delivers on that because it does walk this line of, like, it's very easy to overdo that kind of thing and be just kind of melodramatic and silly. And it is melodramatic. You know, it's very over the top and it's, like, gritty neo-noir darkness, but I think it hits just the right tone of that where it never becomes silly. You know, you never sit there feeling like, you know, okay, dial it back a little bit, fella, you're being ridiculous. It's got that right exact pitch where you don't take it feels like heightened, but you're still taking it seriously, you know?
Yeah, and I think part of what I think worked about his performance that didn't about Bale's as Batman is he just doesn't fucking talk that much. Like, when he goes to crime scenes, he just stands there, and, like, that makes sense, because it's like, why would you talk? Why would you speak? You know, if you have to do your silly voice, people would still hear you, and they'd still be like, oh, yeah, I feel like I've heard that guy before. Ben Affleck Batman had the voice modulator, which I think made a little bit more sense, but still sounded like Bruce Wayne. Like, so I like the idea that he just stands around, doesn't really say anything as his Batman voice. Like, he does speak in Batman voice during those bits. But I don't. Yeah, I thought that part was fine. I think his expressions were pretty good. Under the cowl and stuff.
He's got such a glower. Such a simmer that I feel like is kind of adjacent to, say, a romance film where it's all about, you know, glances and looks and, you know, the way you're getting that sizzling tension and chemistry between people just from that. So I feel like in a way, Twilight was good training because it imparts that kind of skill at, you know, with a look. Communicating a whole range of emotion because he doesn't talk very much, which I think, like you said, just both on a meta level because the more Bale talked as Batman, the sillier he looked, but also at a character level. It makes a lot of sense that this Bruce Wayne just does not talk much.
Yeah. And I think as far as like the emo idea is concerned, I liked it because it made Batman's not being cool make sense. Because Batman inherently is a dumb, silly, dorky thing. So I like that it's like, well, yeah, he's a dumb, silly dork who has this weird little fascination with bats. And everybody that sees him is like, what a weirdo you are. And I'm like, yeah, he is a weirdo. And it's kind of like, well, why is he a weirdo? Or like, it's not like he's a really smart, good detective outside of this who's like a normal, well-adjusted guy. He's a weirdo as Bruce Wayne, too. And that's great. Like I like that this movie, without having a scene where like Bruce Wayne has to sit in a like fancy restaurant, I guess, and say like, guy with the bat clearly has issues, or like where Luke Cage has to throw out his costume from the cartoons or like from the comics. I like that this movie is like, but honestly, this is pretty dumb. Like we all are aware of that. And at the same time, everybody else is pretty dumb too. And like, I think the movie knows that. And it's, yeah, like the Riddler is pretty dumb. Like Catwoman's not quite there, but like Penguin is pretty dumb. And yeah, I like that. I like that everybody in the movie's kind of a dork. But that is cool, but it's also still dorky. So yeah, it doesn't fight with itself in that way that the Bale movies always felt like they were just at odds with the tone.
Right.
I will say, I think this Gotham is good. I think the Batman Begins Gotham is also pretty good. I think
I agree.
It lost the thread in Dark Knight where it turned it. No, Dark Knight is when it becomes Chicago. Batman Begins has that orange, gritty, smoky kind of aesthetic that I think gets completely lost in the second one. But I think in the first Batman Begins, it like looks pretty good. But I don't know, maybe that doesn't hold up quite as well. But I feel like that's the only thing I can compare this to then, and where it's like, oh, that kind of made it feel like the city, not to, you know, be too cliche, but like the city is a character. The only other time I feel like that completely works is Batman Begins. And I feel like they say that, not just the city is a character, but like Gotham is a character is always like that thing that people say. Or I guess New York
like
when you...
I was going to say, yeah, like when they set a movie in New York and say, New York is like a character in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? What else?
I forgot the hot take I wanted to drop when I was just talking about how I felt about the movie.
Oh, yeah?
I feel like this movie succeeds at what the Joker failed to accomplish, of being this kind, not necessarily being a more serious movie or whatever, but at evoking this mood of, like I said, like a 70s neo-noir kind of more gritty sort of movie, while still being grounded and not cartoony. I feel like this was what I would have wanted out of that concept, but did not get.
Right. Yeah, I think that's fair. That movie, I forgot that movie also takes place in Gotham. That Gotham was okay. I don't give that enough credit. It looked like a city, but it also didn't look like Chicago. It really is like Dark Knight Rises is the low bar for these, and like, yeah, everyone besides that and Dark Knight, I think, kind of get it to some extent.
All right, well, that's the podcast, everybody.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? What do we think of Pattinson's suit? His Batman suit.
The weirdest thing was like, it was good, but the chest piece being like this big, like not batarang, but kind of like weapon thing. Like, I don't know. It was just like a low tech solution, while at the same time he had like camera contact lenses. I don't know.
It made me laugh. It made me laugh.
Yeah, me too. The first time he used it, I was like, what? You don't have something better than taking that off of your whole costume and cutting a door and then putting it back on? Like,
right.
And it reminded me, like, oh, yeah, this guy doesn't have batarangs. And there was a point near the end of the movie where I'm like, oh, he's going to invent the batarang. This is his alley-oop in the semi-pro movie moment where he's like, oh, this is how I solved this problem. But he still doesn't get it. He still hasn't figured him out. Maybe by the fourth or fifth movie, he's going to put it together. But, like, you can throw that. It's pretty handy as a throwing option. But you didn't.
It's like, you need more projectiles, bro.
Yeah. It's great that you could skewer everyone with your grappling hook as part of your gimmick. But, like, it's messy. It's very messy. Yeah, what do we think of, like, the whole... I feel like people have said, and I think this is true, it's mostly kind of an Arkham-inspired thing where it's this big metal plated thing, plus like a Gotham by Gaslight cowl, and also a secret wingsuit, maybe.
Yeah,
but it's in there somewhere.
How Bat refused to become a hulking superhuman for this movie, like some kind of lunatic.
Yeah, that was great. And I think when he was shirtless in that one scene where he was doing that Spider-Man vision board, I was like, oh, you know what? He's still probably looking pretty good. Like, I feel like most of the women here are having the same reaction they have when they see Chris Hemsworth with his shirt off. They're like, he's got a better body than the guy sitting next to me. That's all you need, you know? That's all you want. Like, he could probably do a flip if he wants.
That's what I said before. It's like, yeah, he's still a fit young man, you know? He's like... It's not like he needed to bulk up because he was like Star-Lord Chris Pratt, who was just kind of chunky. Like, not in a bad way. He still looked good. I know a lot of people who think he looked better before he bulked up. But, you know, it was like the difference between him just being a realistically, you know, a person who goes to the gym versus being Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah. I think the problem, but I think the tipping point might be Kingo, where we all went, this isn't necessary. We could just not do this because they all are superheroes, whatever. They all, you know, Kumail Nanjiani got abs that we didn't even see. Like, this is just dumb publicity stuff. And it is. So they should stop doing it. I mean, like, if Jason Momoa is already that, then he can continue being that. But yeah, like, I'm trying to think of who else will be cast in something. But like Oscar Isaac for Moon Knight, like, just don't make him get abs. Just let him be a guy. I think they did. I don't think he has insane abs. He has some insane glutes, if you know what I mean.
Hey, booty.
Yeah. What do we think of the cowl?
I was fine with the
Looks
cowl.
good.
I'm 50-50 on the collar. That's my one thing. Sometimes I like it, but sometimes I'm like, we don't need this. I don't know why, though. I think
it is one thing that... I don't know. Go ahead, Nando.
It's just the bat suit in general feels very digital, and that feels very analog.
Yeah,
like, it's like, why do you have that? But I guess there's kind of a reason, but not really. I mean, maybe that's where the wingsuit hides, but it seems like overall you don't really need it. I don't know.
It's a little too low tech. And
it just must make things. It must make fighting worse for him. Like, that was the old Batman problem that we solved with Bale, is like, you can't turn your neck around. Like, so why are we back to here? But I imagine the next one he probably won't have that or something, when they'll get like the upgraded one for the next movie, probably to sell toys. Although,
to sell more toys.
I was at a Target today. A lot of good Batman toys, and not a lot of good Penguin toys. Not nearly as many as I wanted to buy. In fact, I don't think there was one that you could buy without also buying a Batman toy. No, kind of a shame. There's some Riddler toys, so at least they got a couple non-Batman characters. Yeah.
All the kids could get their fun Riddler toys and
do terrorism by themselves at home. Yeah.
What are you saying here, Nando? There's not a lot of great toys of me. Your old pal, the Penguin.
Baby. Hey, the Penguin.
Hey.
Penguin. I've got to say, Oswald. Can I call you Oswald? Is that allowed?
You call me Oswald, Ozzy, Oz. Just don't call me late for dinner. You know what I'm saying?
That does sound like something you'd say.
Gosh.
I think you were terrific. Easily my favorite part of the movie. I think you were, cooler than Pattinson. I thought you were, you had the like screen presence of the Riddler, and you were as sexy as the Catwoman. So you really had all three things mushed into one guy, and it was you. So I was really happy for you. Do you think you're getting a spin-off show, right? What the fuck is that gonna be? Just you mulling around?
It's gonna be all about me, taking over the criminal underworld. Now that there's nobody to stand in my way, I'm gonna be going around, with a little bit of the bada bing and a little bit of the bada boom. And, giving all these other criminal types the what for.
I believe it. I feel like...
And I probably, at the end of the season, there's going to be some kind of song playing while I put on like a top hat and a monocle and pick up an umbrella.
Yeah, what'll it be? Suit and Tie, maybe? By Justin Timberlake? That's kind of not quite it. Is there a song? Umbrella? Maybe it'll be Umbrella by Rihanna.
Ooh. Umbrella.
Was there some kind of song associated with that March of the Penguins movie?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I haven't seen it in a while. You probably love that movie. What's your deal with Penguin? Do you think you're, like, you have a big scar on your face, right? At one point, we see it.
Yeah, you can see it pretty much the whole time. I've also got kind of, I don't know, I got like a fake teeth deal going on, a grill or something.
Have you always looked like that, or is this a new thing? Did you used to look like a, I don't know, not Grindelwald, what the fuck was his name in that first one? Greaves or whatever kind of looking guy, like a bullseye looking fella, and then something happened, or is this just you?
Well, you see, Nando, I was pulling a heist at the Gotham City Zoo, just trying to make a little bit of scratch so I could start up my lounge. And, well, it just so happened that it was the same night that they were doing some nuclear experiments down at the old Gotham nuclear power plant that spread some radiation down on the Penguin enclosure. And then when we got the shootout with the police, I fell down into the Penguin enclosure. And you see, because of all the radiation, I actually physically merged with one of the Penguins. Now, it's all internal.
Because of the radiation?
Yes, that's right. And it's actually entirely internal. Like, I got a swim bladder now. I don't actually look like a penguin at all. But that's why they call me the Penguin, because of my swim bladder.
I was going to say, you don't look... I wouldn't see you and go, Penguin, I
wouldn't either, to be honest. But once everybody found out about the swim bladder, that was it. It was, next time I go with Two Finger Charlie, and he's like, "Hey, look, it's the Penguin over here." Everyone starts laughing. You know how it is with these knuckleheads. You can't get rid of a nickname like that.
That makes sense. I have a question, Penguin. Did you pick up any penguin traits like huddling for warmth and monogamy? Are these things that are
definitely not? Definitely not that second part. You can't keep a penguin like me tied down. I got a woman on each arm every single night. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
Do you know? I don't think you do.
Whoa.
And I'm not,
Don't insult our
you
guest.
know,
Nando.
this isn't a CinemaSins kind of moment. I'm just like, you should show those, show us them. Do they look like little birds? Do they have to wear little bird outfits or something?
No,
That'd be kind of cool.
they were-
Are they penguins?
Yeah, I call them my chicks. You know what I'm saying?
Ah, yes.
They were just off screen every time I was in the movie. They were, just a little bit off to the side, smiling and laughing with me.
Is it because then you would be too sexual and it would draw focus from whatever's going on in the movie?
Yeah,
so they had to make it
originally-
seem like you're. Yeah.
Yeah, originally they were in the scene with me, but then they were saying, we show this to the test audiences, and they think the Penguin's supposed to be the hero because he's so much more charming and sexier than the Batman.
I can't deny that.
I guess I agree.
I have one more question for you. Can you surf like the penguins in that one movie where they surf?
You mean Surf's Up and Surf's Up 2 that has a bunch of wrestlers in it?
Oh, yeah, then that one too, I guess. I was only thinking of Surf's Up 1, personally. But
Surf's
yeah,
Up
you're
2
right.
is a whole subplot with, like, The Undertaker and John Cena and a bunch of other people.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they're actually very important to the plot. It's very weird.
Is it a
That's
penguin
insane.
Undertaker, or is it John Cena
Yeah.
and the human guys?
The penguin versions of themselves. They even have fake, like, penguin versions of the wrestling names. I forget what they were, escape me at the moment. I've watched every penguin movie known to man because of my penguin persona. I decided as long as Two-Finger Charlie was going to stick me with that nickname, I might as well, lean into it.
What's your favorite?
The Penguin and the Pebble.
Oh, I don't know what that is. It sounds cool. Do you have a
I
pebble?
think it's a Don Bluth animated movie. It's a based off thing where penguins, when they're mating, the male penguin will present a female penguin with an especially nice pebble. It's part of the mating ritual.
You giving all the girls pebbles,
Well,
Like,
I wouldn't call it
here's
a pebble, you know what I'm saying? More like a boulder, am I right?
Love it. Love it.
Hey,
are you Italian? By the way?
It's not clear.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, everybody else has, like, a name, like, this is the Falcone, but you're the Cobblepot. And I wonder if maybe you had to change it on Ellis Island from, like, Cobbolini or something, and we'll just never know. But it certainly seems like you should be the one with the Italian-y last name, just from my 2 cents.
You ever
what were
see
you gonna
the
say?
movie The Irishman? You know how there's the one Irishman in the whole Italian mob?
Yeah.
I'm the penguin man in the Italian mob, the one with penguin descent. Well, penguin DNA, because on account of fusing with the penguin in the zoo.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Nuclear waste and everything. Hey, Penguin, I have a question. Is Two-Finger Charlie the one who was really bad at being the bouncer and just letting everyone into the club? Be it Batman or Bruce Wayne or Batman the second time?
No, those were the twins, DJ. They were named in the movie. I understand you usually don't watch these things, but no, Two-Finger Charlie.
I'm sorry.
People can have 2 names, Penguin. You gave me
Yeah,
2 when
you're
you came on
Oswald
this
Cobblepot
podcast, and neither of
and
them
the
were
Penguin.
Penguin. Yeah.
Yeah, well, listen, I have never bothered to learn the name of the twins because they look the fucking same. What am I going to do? Just remember all the tiny little details that differentiates them? No, they're just the twins. No, Two-Finger Charlie is the guy who tried to shoot him with a shotgun. Now you might be saying, wasn't that one of the twins also? No, different guy. Happens to look like them, not a triplet.
Oh, okay.
You just put out a casting call for your like club, and it had a picture drawn of like someone that looked like the twins and him, and they all 3 showed up. So they're like, "Oh, is this me?" And you were like, "Yeah, probably." Right? That's how you.
Yeah,
that's how you get people.
It was meant to convey just the general idea of a tough guy, but they showed up because they looked exactly like the guy in the picture, and we figured why not roll with it.
Yeah. No, it's a great idea. I love how Penguin likes twins and stuff. Like I feel like in a lot of the media, Penguin will have twin somethings that are working for you. I think that's great. That's also kind of part of your gimmick. Really something.
Yeah. It's because on account of penguins have lots of twins. It's very common for a penguin to have twins.
Yeah. Yeah. Great stuff, Penguin. I'm really happy you came on the podcast. I'm excited about your new show. whatever the hell it is.
You jamooks better be watching that Penguin TV show, maybe covering it on this here podcast, or else I'm gonna send my boys, the twins and Two Finger Charlie, to come down here and give you the rat-a-tat-tat. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's it's Rada Alada, as you know, and I hope you'll come on if we do cover it.
Yes, for sure. I think we'll have you on. Absolutely. I mean, you live close to us. You know, you're a Jersey boy. So
that's true.
Get
I
you
can
in
see
studio.
if I can clears my schedules. You know,
Well,
I don't want to make any promises. I'm a busy penguin. Right. You know, I got two clubs. One club's inside the other club.
Yeah, I think that's one club. I think it's one club with a room.
No, 2 different clubs. It's very for tax purposes.
It's like that. It's like that Hannibal Buress joke. It's like my room's got rooms. It's like, no, it's a closet. That's I don't know. But I guess it's a different club. It has different tables and stuff. It's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. You have to go through the first club to get to that club, though, right?
Yeah, which really ruins the security aspect of it, of the fact that that's where all our scumbag clients go. But, you know, never mind about that.
I really just cannot say enough nice things about you. I think you were terrific in this movie. I love that noise you made when you thought he died in the car crash, and you just, do you remember what it was that how you kind of exclaimed?
Can you do that for us again?
Yeah, it was something like, I did it!
That's pretty it. That's it. I like that you could do that on command.
I just picture myself killing the Batman, and then I suddenly get swelled up with a kind of joy deep in my heart.
He's kind of your good friend, honestly. It's like you guys have a very good relationship. Not only do you hang out with him sometimes, he also helped you ascend, kind of, indirectly. So, you guys should be cool.
He does a lot of accidentally helping his villains, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. I always want to ask this in general to Batman villains, and I promise we'll let you go after this. But this came up a lot in this movie, so I have to ask you. Is there some sort of rule you put in place with your thugs that forbids them from shooting his mouth? Because no one seems to want to do that, but they shoot all the rest of him. But he has a big old white, exposed mouth part of his mask. Why does no one shoot it? Even the guy with the shotgun at the end points it at his head. Like,
a lot of people ask this. It's a common misconception. You think that's his face? It's actually a false chin.
Oh, does he have chin envy?
No, you see what he does is, if you notice between the shots, he's actually much taller when he's the Batman. That's because his real head is actually inside the chest area, and he's got kind of like a periscope camera system set up for this fake head that's made entirely out of the bulletproof stuff his suit's made out of. So you think he could shoot him in his big dumb chin, but actually if you try to do that, it just pings off because it's a false head.
So he's like Big Bird, kind of?
Yeah, he's like Big Bird.
Cool. Now I like this movie even more. A lot of birds in this movie. A lot of birds.
That's why I was willing to give him a chance the first time he showed up in the Iceberg Lounge. I felt a bird kinship with him. You know what they say about birds of a feather, am I right?
Never betray them.
Never. But maybe, but never. So thank you so much. I'm sure you have lots to do today. And for the last couple of days, you've been so busy. So I really appreciate you being so gracious with us, with your time. Good luck with all of your endeavors. Do you have anything to plug, Mr. Penguin?
Yeah, like I said, watch the Penguin show, or else you'll be getting a visit from Two Finger Charlie with the garrote.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Mr. the Penguin, Mr. Ozzy, Oswald, all those names. So yeah, he was the best part of the movie. I 100%, not even joking. I loved him so much.
He was so fun. It was so fun.
Great.
It was fun, but also at a certain point, it was like we got to the end, and I was like, "Why was the Penguin in this movie?"
I had a similar thought about another character, which we'll get to later.
I think Nando and I are on the same page there, Buckaroo.
I mean, I could say that about most of the characters in this movie, honestly. Like
Alfred,
the Riddler. Honestly, I feel like you could pretty much make this movie without him. Just somebody else doing those things. I don't know.
I don't know that I agree with most of that.
But yeah, he was great. Why is Colin Farrell in this role, by the way.
I don't know. Did he
What the
really
fuck?
want to? Was it a dream for him?
But then you make him handsome.
So happy.
Why do you have to put on all that shit? He's gonna have to do that for the whole show, right? I assume.
Maybe they'll just change his look for the show so that he doesn't have to wear all this shit.
Right? Yeah, you'll start the first episode. Back in the day, I used to be before the Penguin closure, I was a handsome man in early Gotham. And then, yeah, he'll just be comfortable.
Well, they start doing it with all the makeup, and then he comes out and he's like, "There's too much shit on me."
There was so much shit on him. And Batman does ask that question at one point. What does this do for the greater good? I don't think he's quite the answer he thinks he has, but he does ask it, so that is good. Let's talk about the Riddler a little bit more. I mean, I think overall Pattinson good. Hair good. I like this hair. It was strange. I liked it. Riddler, what do we think of him? Paul Dano.
I think Diggins really nailed it. Where like his moments where he's there are so necessary. He shines, but there's not much besides that.
I think I
don't know, Diggins. You want to
I don't think it ever really coheres together into like a character the way, say, Dark Knight Joker did. Even though he was this mysterious figure with no backstory who showed up, he had this kind of, not just this presence, but this kind of, I don't want to say like ideology, but you know what I mean? Like this.
Yeah. I'd say he had an ideology or like
this idea behind him that like drove him in what he did. And I'm not sure they ever quite nail that with this Riddler. He does the presence. I think his scenes are really good. But it's missing that one little bit to be an all-timer. But I loved the prison scene, especially the twist of it, because
it's so good.
I was like, yeah, of course this is where the movie is going, and then it swerves, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. What'd you think of his getup?
Weird.
Whatever.
It was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, right.
But his goons all were like, we'll all do that. They even all got glasses. And maybe they all already needed glasses, and they were just like, yeah, we'll wear our glasses under the mask. All a bunch of nerds.
This be part of the getup or whatever.
Yeah, what would you say that we're going for with this Riddler? Alt-right Riddler, kind of?
Yeah,
Antifa
like
Riddler?
Man Riddler?
Sorta. QAnon Riddler?
Yeah. I mean, is he QAnon Riddler, though? Because he's right about, like, the conspiracy, mostly. Unless, Diggins, do you think QAnon is a thing? Have you come around since the last time we talked?
Well, I mean, I have gotten Q level clearance since then, so now I know all the
what's in that
secrets.
Moon? Tell me right now, what's in the moon?
I know you're never going to believe this. They've been right all along. It's cheese.
Hey, real quick cheese question. I saw this on Twitter the other day, and I need to know. Is cream cheese cheese?
Yes?
Okay. Honestly, I don't know. But I'm
just asking questions here,
Yeah, I'm just asking questions, What can it cure? Who knows? Just doing my own research on cheese. But yeah, he was like, but yeah, I don't know what his, like, he's like yeah.
I feel like they set up a thing for him that they never actually drop because, like, he's that reporter's son, right?
I figured, but was that ever confirmed?
They never actually say. It's just heavily implied.
I guess, like, it doesn't really matter because he's that reporter's son and also just an orphan who doesn't like the Waynes and all those people for the reasons that he goes over. But, like, I couldn't tell either. I forget what names he had in his little IDs, if maybe one of them said it. But
did you see the thing that was like one of the aliases that he uses that's on screen for a second is like listed on Wikipedia as an alias the Riddler has used in the comics, but somebody looked into it. It's been up there as one of his aliases since like 2014. Someone looked into it and couldn't find any instance of Riddler using that alias in any comic. But
that's so funny.
But now it's in this movie.
Yeah, the Wikipedia made it did the secret and put it into the world, and now it is technically true. So pretty cool. Way to go, Riddler and Wikipedia. But no, I did not see that.
I forget which of the names it was. I can look it up.
Yeah, I don't know what it was with him. I think the live streaming maybe was where he kind of lost me, but I don't know why.
I don't know. Was it because like it was just like a little too like on the nose or off, or it's like, ooh, I actually don't like this.
I think it's because with the Riddler, his riddles kind of speak for themselves. You know, like I don't need a live stream along with the murder because the police will investigate the murder or the pictures or whatever, and then we'll have it. So he would also do a live stream and then say his thing. Like I get when he was on the phone, that made sense to me, but the idea that I don't know, like. The Riddler is so weird in the comics and like motivated by so many different things that, yeah, they kind of picked a different motivation completely and transplanted it on this Riddler. Because like this Riddler doesn't want to prove anything to Batman, which is usually all the Riddler wants.
Right.
And like that would be, you'd figure why he would do the live streaming because he wants to like call out Batman, but like he's already doing that. I don't know. Yeah.
Patrick Parker is the alias. Sorry, I was looking that up.
What did you guys think? Okay, so like, what is his ideology? Anti-corruption?
Like everyone who's in power is a liar, so you can't trust these people because it's all a setup. It's all a ruse. So no one should be in power. We should just kill all the politicians because they don't deserve any of your trust and should die.
Yeah, it kind of felt like there were two Riddlers. There was the Riddler that wanted to kill people on his own with his little riddles and death traps that all did things to him that wrong him. And then there was end of the movie Riddler that just went over the edge so that he could be unsympathetic. Like, I'm going to kill this other politician because fuck it, why not? Politicians, am I right? Which, like, listen, Riddler, I get it, but also she's cool and nice. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like it feels very contemporary in that it's this idea of this rage that becomes curdled and calcified in this way that's very dark and kind of in the ways in which Batman can reflect that attitude in unhelpful ways, which I was interested by and I liked. But yeah, I think they never quite put their finger on exactly what that entails, because you're right. The fact that he's kind of right about all this muddies it a little, because a lot of time all that conspiracy stuff is not real. A lot of times it's about basements of pizza places and all the pedophilia that goes on in them, even though pizza places don't even have the basements. Yeah, it's a little more like that sometimes.
Yeah, it's tricky.
I don't know. I still enjoy this depiction of the Riddler. I think it really works for the vibe and the mood of this movie. I think Paul Dano does a really good job at it. But I understand where you guys are coming from, and I even agree to an extent that it's very purposefully muddied in a way that can make it a little uncomfortable if you think about it too much.
You are like a dark reflection of us, much like the Riddler's a dark reflection of the Batman because of the things we share. But yeah, I think I like Riddler 1 and don't like Riddler 2. That's, I think, my thought process with the Riddler. But I do wish it didn't have the QAnoniness to it, and it wasn't such a conspiracy, but it's 2022, so like everything is that, like, it's impossible to make a villain like this and not have him kind of be a QAnon like inspired character. But yeah, part's tricky.
Unfortunately.
What do we think of Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman? The Lego Movie's own Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. She has returned. She is the only character in this movie that has been in one before, and it's that. How cool is that?
So
good for her.
So cool.
I love it.
Yeah,
so cool. Yeah. What do we think of her?
She's great. She's great. She kills it.
Yeah. Do you know allegedly she drank milk like a cat to prepare for this role?
Saw the picture. They put that picture out.
Yeah.
It's like Vanity Fair or something.
Fucking incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they all did that. I hope Batman, like Pattinson, hung upside down and drank blood or whatever, or mostly fruit.
Fruit and bugs, typically.
Yeah. Penguin ain't nothing but fish.
Raw fish. Just like Danny DeVito.
Yeah, he did the opposite. Like, The Rock is always eating fish to, like, cut down, but he just ate whatever the fattiest fish is to round out. I appreciate that.
But it's weird because this isn't the mystical connection with Catwoman of the Catwoman movie, or even Batman Returns kind of had that a little. It's just, she doesn't even really wear a cat costume. She's just a woman.
She got ears. That little ski mask has like ears, kind of. I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah, I feel like she knows she's probably Catwoman, but she hasn't said it out loud yet. Like, I mean,
I don't think anyone says the word Catwoman in this movie.
She said the cat and the bat. The bat and the cat's got a nice.
That's true.
Nobody says Catwoman.
That's true.
Sure, but the cat thing is she's like, I'm a cat person.
Oh
right?
yeah,
like,
I mean it in terms of like she showed up to the first day of school dressed like that, and everybody she was expecting everybody to be like, "Whoa, you're Catwoman," and nobody did, and she's just waiting for someone to say that, and she'll be like, "Oh, you know what? I guess I am. Okay," because she had all the shit. She had the whip, which isn't like Catwoman, but it's like the tail kind of the cat. And she had a bazillion cats, and she drank milk right out of the fridge, like cold milk as drink. So, did she ever do anything? And she had the claws. That was very Catwoman-y.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the claws.
Did she make a noise like purr or anything like that at any point? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
Okay, that's the line she has to cross in the next one of these, or on the Penguin show, or in the GCPD show, which is another show. That one also might come out this year. I cannot remember, but I think that was originally slated for this year, although it's probably pushed back. Who knows? Yeah, I think she was good. I think she's a very good Catwoman, probably the best one. I don't know. I think all the Catwomen have been pretty solid, you know?
Even Halle Berry?
No, not her. But all the ones that have played Selena Kyle have been pretty solid. All the three women from back in the day, I can remember Julie Newmar and Eartha Kitt, but there's a third one. I don't remember who she is. And obviously Michelle Pfeiffer. And I like Anne Hathaway. I think she's pretty good. I don't think the movie quite knows what to do with her. But yeah, I think Zoe Kravitz right up there. I liked her fighting. I think she had a cool, like, kicky kind of acrobatic thing. It was fun. Like that.
Yeah. She was, she did a lot of more acrobatic type moves, which I think, especially in the fight that they have, her and Batman, I think, what am I thinking of? Paired nicely with it. That's not the word I mean. It was a nice contrast. That's the word
compliment.
I'm looking for.
Yeah. I agree. And I think even that scene where she beat up those thugs and like did the Falcone thing, I think that was also pretty, like, I don't know. I like the very kinetic style.
I like when she kicked that man up like 4 or 5 times until he fell down.
Yeah. She's pretty cool.
He's pretty cool. He's a chain as a whip. Does big burglaries. It's all cool. It's all good. I like it.
But I don't think she needed to be in this movie.
And same.
I really did like her performance, but I think she's the thing I would cut. But
I don't know.
It's unfortunate, but yeah,
with no malice.
I don't know. I mean, do you need her? Maybe not, but I feel like, especially when it becomes clear that it's, she is also ends up being part of this dark reflection of his desire for vengeance, and what that can lead to. I feel like it complements the movie nicely. Obviously, by the end, like, she really has nothing to do with the ending, and so that she feels a little extraneous. But I like her as part of that like first ending.
Yeah. I think if the movie ended with the first ending, then you're right. I would be like, this is good. She was well suited here. But yeah, you know what it was? It was the bit where she became part of the plot in a big way, where it was like, the reveal. That was when I was like, I thought we already knew why she was here enough that I didn't really need this. But I get it. I don't know. It's fine. It's good. It's good. It's good.
Well, it's hard with a 3-hour movie, right? Because you really start looking for the parts where it's like, wait, why is this going on? This feels extraneous. It's like it added another mystery that didn't needed to be solved. Like it just added more mystery for mystery's sake is what it felt like to me anyway.
And I feel like this is where the Riddler got lost for me. Like the movie pushed him out of the movie to do Catwoman movie.
I don't necessarily agree that it was mystery for mystery's sake. I feel like that scene is important because that's, I think, the first time he apologizes for anything that Batman does. And I think it's important for getting him out of this mindset of, like, everyone who does anything bad deserves it. You know, that he's kind of on for that for the first half of the movie.
Sure.
I don't know. I think it's an important... The idea that it's a family thing, because, you know, like Vin Diesel, Batman's all about family.
Mm-hmm.
Makes, you know, it's the non-stupid version of the Martha scene, where that point of commonality allows him to make that empathetic connection and realize what the other person is going through.
Yeah, I agree. I also feel like that resolution ending one with the Falcone ending, I feel like when Batman, I feel like the moment where Batman goes to the prison felt like it should have happened before that, kind of. Not in terms of plot, but just in terms of like his, that prison moment feels like the moment where Batman should be like, oh, I'm learning something about myself that I've kind of gone too far. But he knows that already because he had that conversation with Selina. I guess that was part of why I didn't think it didn't quite work. But also, I just didn't like... by the time the Selina stuff and the Maroni stuff was going on, I was already like, this is more interesting than the Riddler. We don't need to check back on him. Like, that whole intrigue of all of that, I don't know. I think it was just too good.
I wouldn't have hated a version of this movie where Riddler gets arrested from that. They have like one conversation that's more or less like the conversation he has with Riddler in the movie as it exists. But it's not like I have one final plot. It's just like, you know, maybe he gets kind of shaken by this thing he's saying where like, we're the same. We work together on this, right? And like that's the ending is him sort of grappling with that. That would have felt like very neo-noir to me, where it ends on this note of the character kind of reckoning with what they've had to learn and become because of the journey they've been on. I think I could have gotten down with that version of the movie.
Yeah, I do too. Because I do think once Maroni was out of the picture and like with what happens with the Riddler.
You
like,
mean Falcone?
God damn it.
Maroni was
Okay,
the one in the backstory that got arrested.
We got to talk about this.
Oh my
it's
God.
a problem. It's a problem that there are two gangsters that exist in the Batmaniverse, and they both have names that sound pretty similar to each other. And they're always in conversations where it's like, Falcone got some of Maroni's men out of the fucking... I don't care. Give me one. Name them Carmine and whatever the other one's name is. That's fine. We don't need to do it. But it's just because this movie is really focused on Falcone as a name that it has to be part of the thing. Like, it has to be like... Because it's part of the bit. But
Yep.
I want to say it's, I don't know, Sal Maroni and Carmine Falcone. I think that's what the name of Maroni's name is.
Salvatore.
I think that's right.
Salvatore Maroni and Carmine Falcone.
Yeah. So, and I get it. They're Italian. They have similar names. But like, yeah, just Salvatore and Carmine. Then I'll probably have, but even then it's like, in the comics, they are nearly identical characters anyway. So it's like, what are we even doing here? Just call one of them the Falcon. How about that? I mean, I know the movie also wants it to be a clever reveal, but he's the Falcon working with the Penguin, and then Maroni is just a different guy, and it's very clear who is who. But I do not. I like how like in Spider-Man, there were a couple of crime families, but there's mostly the Maggia, which is clearly what it is. and then a bunch of guys. That's like Silvermane, Hammerhead, the other one, Tombstone, and it's very easy to keep track of who's who. I've always had this problem with Batman movies, and this is no different. I think the Dark Knight Returns, Long Halloween has the same problem for me as a book, and yeah. But I liked it. That's the thing. Like, I really enjoyed this plot line, so I wish it was a little clearer. Where are we going with this? How about him? He was great. Loved him.
He was fantastic.
Yeah. What is his name? John Turturro. Yeah. Fucking nailed it.
But I don't know. He at no point said that he was underneath the enemy scrotum. So
That's
I don't
true,
think it compares with his best work.
Batman, stop lubricating on Falcone. He's good. I really do. I think I like about him, and I can't remember if I saw this on Twitter or this is just like the general opinion on him. He does good work, and then he does terrible movies, and it's like, yeah, he does both. It's fun. It's kind of like, honestly, it's a little bit like Colin Farrell, except Colin Farrell, I think, has periods of like good movies, bad movies, good movies, bad movies. But like with this, it's just like, yeah, I don't know. If he was in the next Transformers movie and it sucked, wouldn't even be surprised. But he also does Coen Brothers movies and shit like this, and he's awesome. So, way to go. But yeah, he was pretty cool. I was pleasantly surprised by him. I'm trying to think of who else was in this. What do we think of Alfred? Butler, but also kind of a, I don't know,
Andy Serkis.
More fighty Butler. Yeah.
Well, in theory, he doesn't actually do any fighting.
But he did teach Batman how to fight. He said, I think they say that at one point. He's like, when I taught you how to fight, I never thought you would use your skills for this, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. He was fine. I think in the scenes where they needed to emotionally connect, it worked. He's not really in the movie very much, so he's got like 2 big scenes really.
And the whole theme is like, but you're your family. It's very similar to Dark Knight, right? It's like,
very
your family's reputation to maintain. So you're not gonna do that. And,
I'll destroy your legacy, and I won't be around to watch it go down.
Like with we were saying with the emo Batman, the whole plot is basically, you're not my real dad.
Yeah, yeah.
But it works. I think it works. I think it was a good.
I don't know if he's.
I like the moment where he's like basically trying to say, like, you are my dad, but he's such an awkward weirdo that he could just be like, I guess I am still scared when people close to me are in danger, people that I care about. I could name some examples, but it's fine.
Yeah, that felt like something very Will Arnett. Yeah, like, I have so many people that I love around me, maybe within 2 feet of me. Can't say their name, but I do. Like, that kind of bit. I also was really mad at fucking, like, Bruce Wayne. I like when Bruce Wayne is like a little shithead. And to Alfred, and Alfred is like, you're being a little shithead. When he was like, those aren't cufflinks. You're not a Wayne. You don't have those cufflinks. Fuck you, kid. Who do you think you are telling this man
right?
You deserve those cufflinks? What do you think? He stole them? Of course he was given them.
I feel like that was a good moment because you can kind of see in Robert Pattinson's eyes, like after he says it, where he's like, "Yeah, why did I say that? Oh, that sucked."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that.
Maybe I'm the piece of shit.
He's a piece of shit. He used to be, but not anymore. You know,
the end of the movie, the ending narration is like, "I used to be a piece of shit."
Yeah.
Telling off my butler dad.
Sloppy Penguin and Falcaronis. They tell you can't put ice on it, but then you give it a pile of ice.
Driving around with the top down in my Batmobile.
Yeah. Yes. Flip forward emo hair lives for Halloween. Piece of shit.
I used to be a piece of shit.
Yeah, you pick up the kid who's rescuing, and the kid's like, oh, the kid doesn't think people can change. The kid doesn't think Batman can change. And then by the end, he's friends with the kid. Yeah. Dangerous Knights Crew. That would be him and Selena. Oh man, did you see they're making a show of that? Not of that, but he's getting a show on HBO called like Computer School,
Computer Science or something. Yeah.
Yeah, very excited for that. Something I had or thought. Oh, who is your favorite Alfred? Because I feel like with Catwoman, we're like, oh yeah, they're all pretty good, and like Batman, it's like, well, we can do that one too. Is Pattinson your favorite Batman?
Oh, it's so tough.
It feels difficult to say that because he has such a distinctive take on the character.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
It's like, I love what he's doing here, but like the other Batman actors are doing something similar, of course. I mean, Batman can only be such a different character, but I don't know. This one is so stylized that it's like, yeah, I love this version of the character. I love what Robert Pattinson is doing, but it's hard to compare it to the other ones.
Yeah, like, how do I compare this to Clooney? Like,
it's better. It's much better. But well, I know what you mean.
If Nando, the biggest apologist for the first 4 Batman movies in the world, thinks that, then it must be.
I mean, yeah, Clooney stinks. Kilmer's good. I think Kilmer is legitimately a pretty good Batman. And obviously Michael Keaton we like. I think Nolan, like, those movies, I think Bruce Wayne and the idea of Batman gets less fun as they go on. I think if Batman Begins was the only one, I think I'd be like, that one. He's the best one. But then when he starts being in the daylight a lot, he still has good scenes, but he does a stupid Batman voice. I don't know. I think I would say this one's probably the best one. I mean, besides the animated one, which is the best one. But, like, you know, if you count the ones that are live action.
What about, like, Will Arnett? Am I comparing this to Will Arnett?
I mean, you compare this to everybody. Compare it to Keanu Reeves in the trailer for Dwayne Johnson starring Super Pets.
Yeah.
He's Batman now, apparently.
That better be a licensed
Why not?
toy.
Yeah. He says it, I'm sure. I said this on Twitter, and then a bunch of other people said it on Twitter. Or I didn't say it on Twitter. I said it in, like, a different group chat. But then I was like, oh, wait, we're right about this. That's the last scene of the movie, right? Them all getting adopted by superheroes?
Yeah, probably.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Why? Why are we doing this? But I guess it's like they want to show people that people besides Dwayne Johnson are in it, so they have to spotlight them. But yeah, what else? How do we feel? What other characters were in this? Oh, but wait, who's your favorite Alfred?
Michael Caine for sure.
I feel like it has to be Michael Caine because I feel like no other Alfred has a lot to do.
I think first 4 movies Alfred, like, you know, 89 plus, is a very good Alfred. But you're right, he doesn't have as much screen time. I also think he's the only one that didn't feel like that actor reading the Alfred lines. Because they got Jeremy Irons, Michael Caine, and now Andy Serkis, and none of them felt more like Alfred than they did themselves. Like, because they're just big actors. And maybe that's what the original Alfred was like, too. But I just didn't know what that is. But, yeah. I like my Alfred.
I mean, I get that.
I like my Alfreds to be a little bit more like, not like jokey, because it's not jokey. But I love my good Alfred dry sarcasm. This one didn't have as much of that, and I'm not faulting him for it. But that is something that I think the first one doesn't get nearly enough credit for. What'd you think of that lady that also works there?
Which lady?
Oh yeah,
she had like a lady.
Oh, yeah. Like I guess she's like the maid or something.
Yeah, remember in the old cartoon or the old TV show where they added the lady so that they wouldn't be super gay? Remember that?
Oh,
you ever heard that? Yeah, they made. I've been told. I've been told, but I think I've read that when they made the first Batman and Robin show from the 60s, the networks were like, you got to put a woman in here. Otherwise, it's going to be very gay, and we don't want that because this is Batman, okay? And then they did, and it's just like some old nanny kind of character who doesn't make it any less gay. It's very strange. But
yeah, like Batman would need to be like making out with a lady like every 5 seconds. Be like,
and he did.
Look at me.
He was the horniest Batman. I don't understand it, but
Oh, no. The horniest Batman is Adam West. You ever seen that 1966
That's what I'm
Batman
saying.
movie?
He is the horniest Batman. Yeah. That's why it's like, no one needs to be convinced this Batman is not just on the on the oh god, like trail for just.
Well, you know, he might be by a concept that they had very good and clear ideas about in the 60s.
And still do. What was I going to say?
I have a question.
Yeah?
I just like real quick while we're on the topic. What did you think of like the horniness of this Batman?
I liked it.
Honestly,
I thought the sexual tension energy was pretty good. Yeah.
I honestly kind of was hoping it would be more horny than it is, but
Oh, interesting.
A decent level of horny, you know?
Yeah, I don't think...
More sexual tension than I've come to expect from these superhero movies, so I'll take it.
I think if you took someone out, you would have a little bit more... Like, it's tough, because this isn't an origin story for Batman, right? We kind of said this, but it's like year 2, I believe.
Thank God we don't get a single shot of pearls falling on the ground. Can we just praise this movie for not a single one of those?
I wanted it.
Kudos.
I wanted it so bad. I wanted them bouncing off of the floor and all that stuff, and I wanted the gun to pull them. It was great. What was I going to say? Oh, also, we haven't talked about this, but it happened in 2002, right? The Wayne murders. So the Twitter has decided he was probably seeing Shrek. That's pretty cool. On the way home from a Shrek.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there was another one that was up there, but I do think Shrek is probably the more... I mean, Shrek was huge back in 2002. Could have been seeing Spider-Man. Does Spider-Man exist in it? Maybe. No.
Why not?
I don't know. It feels like he can't, because everybody be like, what do you think you are, fucking Spider-Man with that outfit on? Like, it'd be like in the Marvel ones where they just started talking about Superman, and it's like, you have other references for this, and no one mentioned that about any of the rest of these guys, so like, did you invent that yesterday? But anyway, yeah, I think in a movie with a little bit less going on, we could have had more time. If it wasn't also kind of an origin, we could have had more time to enjoy the romance. But I think it was, yeah, kind of like smushed into the rest of this movie. I'm sure she'll be back in the next one, and then they'll, you know, do romance.
I don't know. She says she's in Bloodhaven now. She might just be in the Nightwing movie.
That would be so funny.
Well,
fucking
Nightwing.
Like a 16-year-old. Like who
jumping
even,
ahead?
Yeah, how? I mean, so people have suggested that maybe this Batman will get a Robin, just because fuck it, why not? And I don't think that's completely out of the question. But I think it'd be weird.
Yeah, was the last time we had a Robin in the movies. Like not kind of the Lego movie. Was it like the Schumacher movies?
I mean, is his name Robin? His first name secretly Robin? Because then we had one in The Dark Knight Rises, and that I
don't count
good.
That.
Also, we had a dead Robin suit in one of the fucking Batman. Snyder's.
I don't count that either.
That fan theory that Jared Leto Joker is really Jason Todd.
It's the most interesting thing that movie ever did. Like, that is an angle, and it just couldn't give less of a shit. Also, did you guys have a Morbius trailer?
Yes.
No.
I did not.
What a badass.
I was missing it. I was upset.
I unfortunately, there was no woman who said, what a badass, after the trailer played. But,
I can't believe you didn't just leave then. If no one is willing to recognize Jared Leto...
I should have said it. It's my fault for not being like, what a badass.
Would have been like an I'm Spartacus moment. Everyone would have been like, yes, that brave man has given me the courage to also say, what a badass.
I can't believe that happened.
But yeah, Robin probably shouldn't do it. But yeah, so the last one was probably, the last full one was Chris O'Donnell as like an actual
Bring
Robin
him
in
back.
the movie. I mean,
he
maybe
come back as Robin.
He could come back in the Keaton one. Why not? They're kind of the same universe, maybe. I don't know.
No, in this one, I want him to be Pattinson.
Yeah, he's definitely got a good 20 years on Pattinson.
Yeah, despite
he was older in his movie than Pattinson is now. Like, it was weird. But yeah, I think they could do that. I mean, we have the Titans Robin who says fuck Batman. And Batman would get along here.
That's how you know he's cool, because he says the fuck word.
We did get one fuck here, and that character was promptly killed. So way to go. The MPAA saluted that character death and was like, yes, you show the kids what happens. I can't believe we haven't talked about the other character, Jeffrey Wright, as Commissioner Gordon. What do we think of him?
He's not commissioner yet. Oh, no.
Yeah, that's true. He commissions like, fan art of him and Batman kissing. Then he just commissions something.
Maybe he's one of those secret rich furries that just commissions tons and tons of furry porn that just pays for so many college educations.
He's commissioning something. I mean, no one doesn't believe he's commissioning something. So he commissioned that light probably, and everyone was like, "Wait, what?" And he was like, "Yeah, I had a guy on Etsy make me this cool light. It's gonna get Batman to come over." And everybody was like, "You're not in charge. I don't care. I'm doing it." But yeah, what do we think of him? The Watcher's own Jeffrey Wright.
Good job, I guess. Yeah.
I liked him a lot.
I think he had a good rapport with Robert Bat and Bat.
Yeah, I do too. And I think he was just the right amount of not quite a cop who does his own thing. Like he's working as within the system as he possibly can, but he does not do that sometimes.
Considering he lives in Gotham, where every cop is corrupt.
Yeah. Yeah, well, not all of them. Not all cops are bad. Yes.
Hashtag
the
not
blue.
all cops.
Yeah, I think...
There was a moment in this movie where I want to make an edit that... Because there's a point after the actual police commissioner, I think, dies. Because he gets killed by the Riddler. Spoilers. I mean, we're well past spoilers at this point, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they're talking about it, and Batman is going like, he did bad stuff, and now he's dead. And Jeffrey Wright says something to the effect of, you almost sound like you think he deserved it. And what Batman says is, he's a cop, he crossed a line, but he leaves a long, significant pause between those two sentences. So for a few seconds, it's just like, sound like you think he deserved it. He was a cop.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want to cut out the second part of that line and just leave it in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, to talk about movies Ben Shapiro would really hate. That would really that would get in his craw. Ben Shapiro really liked when all those cops were there to heroically arrest that one guy, to show that Gotham is cool and not corrupt.
I think the only thing that I think the movie should have been clearer that all these corrupt politicians were Democrats, because everyone knows that only Democrats do corruption. Republicans never do any corruption, and so. I think it's irresponsible, frankly, of the movie to not specifically call these politicians Democrats, because it might give the false impression to young people out there that Republicans might be corrupt, but they're never corrupt. It's only corruption is part of the liberal mindset. It's part of this culture of handouts where you think you deserve things just for doing nothing. That's what causes corruption. Whereas as Republicans, we have a Sigma grind set. Where we work for what we need, for what we get. And so,
like Bruce Wayne.
Like Bruce Wayne. So we never do a corruption.
Never. Now, I have a question, Ben, now that you're here.
Oh, no.
That one guy who was what was he? DA? Was he a Democrat?
Well, he was corrupt, so yes, definitely.
Okay. That's a bummer. He exploded. I don't know. I got really exploded big time. And Batman had his magic's fake chin, so it didn't even really affect his face that much.
Yes.
I at least wanted Wile E. Coyote black smoke on his face.
I was like, Batman, you should really probably get... It's pretty clear this guy's not going to say anything. You should get away from this bomb before the last possible second.
Yeah. But no, it didn't do that. And then the police very considerately took him to the police station without taking the mask off. That's nice.
Okay.
And only
Let's
when he
talk about
was
some nitpicks
waking up,
here.
we're like, let's take that mask off.
Yeah.
I got a couple nitpicks. Okay.
Let's hear 'em.
So, starters, before we even get there, the reason he is brought to the police station is ostensibly he is trying to make the DA not blow up with the bomb around his neck, right? Batman is next to that explosion that, just kills that would have killed Batman, right? There's no, explosion-proof suit unless it's, a suit of armor or something like that. No way with, at least your face and neck exploded are you getting away from that explosion?
Didn't you hear the Penguin earlier? It's like a bat tank, basically. He's entirely enclosed within the chest of the Batman that we see. And the parts that look human are just an elaborate, robot suit, basically.
So I think that makes a lot of sense. Because otherwise, it would be really stupid if he just took the full force of that face level bomb, flew back and landed really far, and his face was fine. That would be very dumb.
The man also, full speed crashes onto the roof of a truck, bounces off it onto the concrete road.
Oh my god!
Bounces a couple times on that into some garbage. So and he's fine. Nothing's
Classic
even broken.
Batman. As long as you land in some garbage, it's okay. We learned that from Batman 89, and it's still true in this current day.
And Black Widow, you can land in garbage, and it's totally cool.
I love that scene, by the way. I love the wingsuit scene because there's a moment where he's really like, "Oh fuck, this is gonna suck. I hate this."
Yeah,
and then he totally beefs
cool.
it, and that I love when they beef it.
It was fun. Him beefing it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Iron Man, where every time he lands in that suit going 100 miles an hour to 0, it should just be soup when they open that up. Just Tony Stark's soup comes out, and same with that, it's soup. But I'll take it.
So that was one. Nitpick one is the aforementioned explosion, which, by the way, fix that scene up. Just make it an explosion that only kills the DA, but whatever. Make it a little head explosion. It's in his neck, Suicide Squad style. Oh, that would be amazing. They put one of the Suicide Squad bombs in my neck. The what?
Yeah, or Amanda Waller's also at that funeral, and she's like, this looks like something I could use one day. Kind of. That was the first Suicide Squad. Just had these gigantic metal collars and cell phones.
Yeah.
Call Amanda Waller if you decide to be bad so I can blow up your head.
So that was the first. So he is taken to the police station, and they wait till he's just about to regain consciousness to take off the cowl. Now, that cowl should have been more high tech, like we mentioned. But also, it's not like the cops are thought to have this good relationship with Batman. They all kind of hate him, and Gordon is just a detective who is good, chill with the Batman. But that thing should have been ripped off totally. And then it's oh my god, Bruce Wayne, how weird. Let's arrest him.
Yeah, he looks no older than my son.
Oh my,
just a little boy.
And then he saves them from Doc Ock, and they're like, "Don't worry, Batman, your secret's safe with us."
Yeah.
Actually, it would be amazing if they took off his cowl, because they're cops. They might not know who billionaire Bruce Wayne is. It's who the fuck is this schmuck?
Yeah.
He looks like an emo kid.
Oh, it's a lady. She's wearing eyeshadow and everything. Oh boy. Just completely get it wrong.
He's so pale.
Why is he wearing all this mascara? Why is this all smudged up on his eyes? You know what I'm saying?
You been crying, Batman? What happened to you?
Listen, this isn't how you blend. When you take the sponge, you gotta do smooth strokes to blend it in. This just looks like he took it and threw it right on his eye. That's such messy craftsmanship. It's gonna be horrible on his fucking follicles. You hear what I'm saying? What you gotta do is you gotta exfoliate first. Then you get your blend. You blend with the sponge, and then you dab it just a little bit, and then you put on some mist spray to make it set. That's how you do it so you don't fuck up your skin. This jabroni over here.
Diggins, I'll take this one.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Wahlberg, are you here? Is this a departed Batman crossover? And that's what was happening? Because for certain, I thought it was you. I could have sworn.
Nando, you caught me. It slipped through.
Gotcha.
My Wahlberg is, I tried to do my Batman voice. It slips through. I'm here promoting the movie Uncharted. I want all the kids to go out and see Uncharted. You go see the Batman, then you see Uncharted. You go see Uncharted.
That's a good order too.
Could you say the name of that movie one more time?
Uncharted.
Thank you.
Uncharted.
Nando, please continue.
So I want the.
Now,
yeah,
Mark
Nando,
Wahlberg,
you go ahead, Nando.
Do you think your character, and I know the answer to this, but I have to ask anyway. Do you think your character in Uncharted by Sully, whatever his name was, Sully Sullenberger, as far as I'm concerned, do you think he could beat up the Batman?
Nando, there is 1,000% chance that Sully would kick the Batman's ass straight to hell. The Batman wouldn't stand a chance against Sully in Uncharted. Not a chance.
Would you say that?
Listen.
Would you say that if you and your boys were on that bat jet, that nothing bad would have happened?
Oh my God!
Absolutely not. There would have been no problems if I was on the bat jet. Now, I just gotta say one thing. If it was the Ben Affleck Batman, he'd kick my ass straight out of here.
He does cross
straight to heaven.
Well, Ben Affleck's a personal friend of mine, so it makes sense.
It makes sense. Duncan.
Right, you couldn't possibly lift a finger against a fellow Bostonian.
No.
Now I do
especially
remember,
not one is like
unless that fellow Bostonian was in the 80s and was of a different ethnicity than you.
Yeah, I was going to say, white Bostonian is very different in the Mark Wahlberg eyes. He thought that was clear when he said it.
So, sorry, boys. It's breaking up here. Look, I got to do another promotion for Uncharted. Make sure everyone goes see Uncharted, not the Batman.
It's only been out for a couple weeks, Maybe this will be its week. Maybe people will start liking it this week.
I just don't understand how more people haven't seen Uncharted.
All right, thank you for your time, Mark.
It's been great talking to you. Ben Affleck's the best Batman, by the way. There's no doubt about it. Ben Affleck is the best Batman. You take that right to the bank.
I think that's definitely an option. Do you want to hashtag restore the Snyderverse, Mark Wahlberg? Are you going to say that right now?
Hashtag restore the Snyderverse right now. You put Ben Affleck back in there. He was rabbed as far as I'm concerned. And careful. Wahlbergers. Get your Wahlberg.
Good stuff. Thank you, Mark.
I got to go.
I don't want to talk about this in front of Mark because I know he'd be upset hearing about it. But do you guys remember when there was a point where it seemed like Mark Wahlberg was teasing the role of Mr. Freeze in a Ben Affleck Batman movie?
No.
He was like lifting lots of weights and he had a bunch of pictures behind him of like Batman and Mr. Freeze or something. It definitely, I don't remember when this was. I mean, it was definitely not, nobody thought he was going to be in this. But, and maybe he could. He still could. He could be Mr. Freeze in the next. No one wants that. I mean, he might, but no one else. But that could happen. Let me see. Mark. I'm pretty sure it was Mr. Freeze. Just because that is so preposterous. Yeah. So he did. Oh, you know what it was? He put up. There was a picture. Okay, I remember this. So it's actually much stranger than you'd expect. He had he took a picture, and behind him were all of the headshots of all of the actors in Batman v Superman, and he was doing a Mr. Universe pose. So I was like, and a lot of other people were like, is he trying to tell us he's going to be Mr. Freeze? Much like, but also just like he wasn't even in it. So does he just print those out and have them at home? Like all the pictures of all the Batman guys?
That's so interesting.
Did he just really want to put like a picture of Amy Adams, classic Bostonian on his thing? And then it was just like, why do you have that? He's like, oh, I'm doing Batman pictures. I got almost all of it printed. She's the first one I got put up. Trust me, I'll be back in a couple days. You'll see all the Batman guys. I don't know.
Is this part of his wish chest?
Maybe. Yeah.
It's part of his vision board. He's trying to manifest it for himself.
Yeah.
It's very good. I'm happy he's having that, he's having that for himself. Yeah, but this movie was good. What else? Yeah, Commissioner Gordon. What about the guy who was kind of the Corey Stoll character, but it wasn't Corey Stoll. It was
I also
Peter
thought it
Skarsgård.
was Corey Stoll.
Yeah. What a role. What a role. Yeah. He was just kind of a shitty guy. That was fun.
He was the DA something Gil Coulson.
Yeah, not Phil Coulson, different guy.
Different guy.
Different for Phil. Yeah.
I liked how pathetic he seemed, thinking what he assumed was a sex worker was genuinely interested in him.
Love that, yeah. There was a second,
Right.
There were a couple moments where I was like, people are going to get wise to her, people are going to get wise to her, and it's like, nope, they're all just really bad at this. Like, it's shocking they have not been caught yet, but I appreciate that. And I think the idea of, like, Batman watching through her eyes, it was interesting. That was an interesting scene. He has those little eye thingies. What'd you think of those?
Those were, yeah, that was interesting. Hey, what did you think when he spied on her?
Oh, like when he watched her in her window?
Yeah. Little
Remind
creepy.
I feel like the movie wants us to think that's kind of creepy because, it's part of his whole, like, he doesn't connect to people thing,
Incorrect. I was just there going, like rubbing my hands together just with Batman going, yeah, this is what a boy likes.
One could consider it a deliberate parallel to the movie opens with the Riddler doing that to the mayor.
Yeah.
And then it does the exact same thing with her to the point where at first I thought it was the Riddler until we pull back and see his face.
Yeah.
So, I think it was deliberately making you feel like that was a little weird and creepy because it's meant to signal how maybe the two of them aren't so different after all.
Oh.
So mission accomplished?
Mission accomplished. We got him, boys. Caught the
Ladies and
Batman.
gentlemen, we got him.
We got him. Yeah, I think I had a thought. Batman, I don't know. It was good. Catwoman, that scene was
We're
cool.
well past this now, but we're not really going through the movie chronologically anyway. So I want to bring this up. I think, I made my best Batman movie, potentially Declaration at the Start, need to rewatch Dark Knight, etc. I think indisputably best, first 10 minutes of a Batman movie ever.
Ooh. That's tough because the Dark Knight opening is very popular.
Yeah.
The Riddler
and
killing
good.
all the goons. I want to agree with you. Even the Batman 89 has a really strong opening as well.
Yeah, I'm not saying the other openings are bad. I'm saying I adored this one. The whole, the narration from Robert Bat, that's all, dark and, the criminals, they fear, they think I'm in the shadows. I am the shadows. The montage of petty crimes, and then all the criminals just, when they see the bat signal, they look into the deep shadows and get nervous. And then the final reveal of him walking out of the shadows and just kicking the shit out of those Joker gang members. It's all so good.
See, I was confused. I couldn't remember if that was the opening or if the Riddler scene was the opening. And I thought you were talking about the Riddler scene.
I know
I
what
guess
Diggins meant, but
I think the Riddler scene is the first thing in the movie, so I can understand your confusion. I basically meant this thing, the introduction of Batman.
Oh yeah, that thing was sick, where everybody looked at shadows and was like, "Where's Batman?" That was cool. Although,
I'm glad we
once
all
the
like
bat signal is out, does that mean go do a crime? Streets is open, boys. Batman's got Batman shit. Go romp your local bodega. Is that,
I think the idea is maybe they don't know what that means because it's not a formal thing the city has set up. So it just reminds them that he's out there, and they're like, oh shit.
But I mean,
they don't explain it much, which is fine.
I mean, for me as a thug, that would be my get out. That would be my Batman's busy now. He's got other things to do. I can probably rob a bodega and not get dealt with Batman stuff. But that's just me. I'm just a clever thug.
Well, in The Dark Knight, don't they say, like, Gordon goes, sometimes I just, like, reminded him he's here. Or he's out there, or something like that. Like, I feel that's very much alluded to.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. The movie was cool.
The movie was... We're struggling, because we all like the movie. We're struggling to talk about it.
Nitpick the hell out of it.
We can talk about the bad ending.
Hold on. I want to nitpick something. This is the thing. And we can talk about kind of the Riddler's plan. Let's talk about that. Because his plan is weird. So he has all his clues, right? The first one really got me because it's a cipher, right? And Batman has it. Like, he has the cipher. And I thought this whole, like, wordplay thing was pretty clever with, like, the thumb drive, whatever. Alfred is working on the cipher, and he has figured out some things. And Batman is like, but that maybe he doesn't want us to get those. What if it's just the letters that he gave us on the thing? And Alfred fills them in, and it says drive very clearly. I'm like, wait a second, Alfred, wasn't that how you started? Did you not see this word spelled out when you filled in all the letters we already had?
Well, it could have been made up of different letters, so... Right? Like, I thought that too, but it might have not all been the same letter that spelled out drive.
But it was all the letters in the card. Like, it was the S and the R and the E or whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, like, it would have to be...
Oh, like, he should have seen
the first step would be you would fill in all of those letters that you already have, which would give a big word drive. No fool could miss it. But maybe he's blind. I don't know.
Depends on how big the paper... I get it. Yeah, I get it.
But also, so the other thing about that clue, Gordon might be the worst cop ever.
Okay.
He just puts a USB stick into a computer.
Connected to the internet.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this must be some sort of special police, they say, what is the word? Like airlocked or something? Right? Like, it's got to be one of those. But no, it's just a fucking computer. What? Come on, commish. Or whatever.
Yeah,
this is why you're not Commissioner Gordon.
I mean,
Too many fucking phishing scams. Every time he goes up for a promotion, it's like, no, you remember that time the virus destroyed all of our shit? Like last week, he did it. So we can't, he can't be in charge.
Yeah, I mean, the police really actually do not do that. They...
Yeah.
Both for that reason and also because it can be become inadmissible in court, because then if the police just had unfettered access to it, they could have tampered with it.
Oh, that's true.
Which, of course, they would do because they're cops.
Yeah, they're bad.
And they routinely lie, especially to courts. But, yeah, so that is absolutely not even, like, standard procedure. And he would know that, so he's a moron.
Absolute moron. That was the one that really got me. I don't remember. What were the other Riddler bits? It's the thing with the rat. What did you guys think of the La El rat thingy?
I like got it, but didn't like. I don't know. That one was off for me.
I thought it was a little silly.
Yeah.
I didn't like
think
that.
He'd be able to.
I liked that the Penguin was like, my little Juanillo speaks Spanish. I mean, come on.
Yeah, like that was funny.
I like that.
It was very funny and silly.
Him in that scene was great. That was, I mean, Penguin had already kind of won me over when he had the chat with Batman. Thought that was good, like earlier, but that scene was where he really became the best part. Also, I don't think so. What's the URL? I couldn't remember.
Rata Alada.
Oh god.
So it's Spanish for rats with wings, or winged rat or something.
More or less.
That URL is already taken, probably, right? It's got to be. I feel like someone's squatting on that. And maybe it's the Riddler. Maybe he's playing the long game. But yeah,
he knows what he's doing.
He does know what he's doing. He's also starving rats at home, like the fucking Game of Thrones guy.
Yeah.
So they'll eat this man.
You gotta get them nice and hungry. Well, nice and hungry to eat a man's face like in 1984. Wow. I know what years are and famous books are called.
Yeah,
that's all you need. You know? Diggins, real quick. What year is it right now? And what was that book about the kid with blue eyes who can suck up memories or something? Go.
It's 2014, and that was Ender's Game.
Oh shoot! You were so close. This is embarrassing, but I think you're having a stroke. I don't want to say this on air.
I do still burn toast right now, and I haven't been making toast.
Say those 5 words we told you to say at the beginning of the podcast. Say those again in the same order. Extra credit for the same order.
Man, hook, hand, car, girl.
That is so close. But wrong. I'm so sorry to tell you this.
I don't know why that got me so hard. Just the pause.
Yeah. I think, yeah. Where are we going with this? Oh, yeah. That bit was fun. Who was the third kill? Oh, the third kill was Corey Stoll. But it was the other guy.
Yeah, he was the one with the bomb on his neck. Who crashed into the memorial service for the mayor and then exploded when Batman couldn't get him to say the name of La Rata.
So La Rata, the idea of a rat, the person that worked with the cops to get Maroni out of his business, is the big question of a lot of the movie. Mm-hmm. Was that ever, in your minds, not John Turturro's guy?
I didn't think
so. At some point, it had to be.
Huh.
Really? I considered it.
I wasn't really thinking about it, you know? I was so absorbed in the movie that I wasn't trying to predict. I was just watching what happened.
Right. I guess with me, I kind of assumed that from the beginning when they just started saying there was a rat that took down Maroni, and I was like, oh, maybe it's this guy. And no one would give him up, and I was like, oh, is this an innocent person? And then I was like, Batman, don't do this. That's a source in a police investigation, right? That person probably shouldn't be outed on TV, but it is if it's a bad guy. So I think that was where it kind of got sold up for me. But yeah, it was weird that he was doing that. He was like, who's the source? I don't know.
No, I get it. I think overall the problem with the entirety of the Riddler mystery for me is that it kind of falls flat because the most interesting part of the reveal is oh, the Waynes were also in on it, right? But that's there's even more reveal after that. That's not the end of the movie. It's the 2/3 point in the movie. So I feel the big oh, what's the Riddler trying to reveal kind of didn't matter at the end. It made the whole thing feel kind of toothless. And that was disappointing for me because I felt in the moment the intrigue and mystery of it was interesting until it's so wait, it's just the mobster, right? To your point, Nando.
And also, I guess for me, that reveal of no, the Waynes were dirty. We've seen it a couple times by now. Joker was that a little bit where it's oh, actually, you thought the Waynes were good, but they're not. And then you're
I said, this movie is what Joker was trying to do, but good.
Right, but then the movie goes back on it, and it's no, Mr. Bruce, your parents are always perfect, nice, holy angels that would never have done that. And it's let him have been bad. That's more interesting. That's way more interesting. But
I would have liked it more if there wasn't that partial walk back. I agree.
And it's just another thing that the movie takes more time to do in the middle, or in that second half of Act 2, where I'm just too much is happening. We need to find some things we can get rid of, and that's one of them for me. We haven't really talked about, speaking of second half of Act 2, how about that car chase? What do we think of that?
It sure was a room from a car chase.
Mwah.
Yeah, sexy-ass fucking car. Oh, my God. That car.
I kind of love how he spends a full 30 seconds charging up the car. He's going to run down the Penguin, and then it just doesn't work.
Yeah, wait, but is that what happened? Like, did it break? Or was that the point?
I don't think it broke, but I think it was like he was revving up to go zoom after him, and then it like didn't go, and it
like
took
stalled
a
out
longer.
or something.
Yeah,
that was funny. Because I for a second I thought that, and I was like, wait, was he just trying to make the scariest noise possible with his car by like kicking it into fifth gear, and then to actually drive, he had to like get it back into first or something? I don't know, but yeah, that seems cool. He did a ramp like Grand Theft Auto. That was fun.
Yo,
Love
Fitty,
that.
hit that ramp.
Yeah, always good. Also, when that scene started and like the chase went onto the highway, I was like, hey, Batman, there's a reason cops don't do this. I know like people have been saying like it's the first Batman movie where Batman didn't kill anybody. And I'm like, not directly, but like he also didn't not kill anybody either. He definitely is kind of responsible for a bunch of deaths.
I mean, people definitely died in that car chase, but one could say that they were Penguin's fault.
Something like that. I think you could, you could make the case either way. I also think, lucky for Batman, that all those thugs were later in the movie were already tethered to the ceiling when he threw them off of the thing. Because that was the other one where I was like, where the fuck is he doing this so quickly? And oh, right, they're all already. And then it was like, oh, good. That's no problems there. But what else we got to think about? So you want to talk about the end of the movie? Oh, wait. Because we're going through kind of the Riddler things. The Riddler mails Bruce Wayne a bomb. Alfred just opens the whole thing.
Yeah.
Who's dumber, Alfred or Commissioner Gordon?
Commissioner Gordon. That one is like unforgivable.
Yeah, because Commissioner Gordon knew what he had and knew what the procedure was. Alfred made a dumb mistake opening a package that looked like it might be a bomb, but in his defense, how often does Bruce Wayne get mailed bombs? Probably not often.
I mean, yeah. I guess it was just like, dude, what do you... Like, when he picked that up and thought to start doing stuff with it, I was like... It was a very kind of horror movie sitting in the theater going, no, don't, he's right behind you kind of moment for me of like, don't open it. And then he did, and he's dumb. Don't open other people's mail. It's a felony. B, look what happened to Alfred. Did you guys think he died?
Oh, yeah.
Me
Again,
too.
explosions at point blank range. What are we doing?
And just C4 too. Serious stuff.
Yeah, like that's not. You're not making. I don't care how tough you are with all your military training or whatever.
There was smoke coming out of the building. Like it's fucked.
Yeah.
I thought he might be dead because the way the maid tells him is insane if he wasn't dead.
Yes.
She's like, oh no, something terrible happened an hour ago, Mr. Wayne. I'm so sorry. Like, that's what you say when he died, not when he got hurt and is in the hospital. Like, don't open that way if that's it. Tell me he's in the hospital first.
Yeah. Listen, before we say anything, he's okay. He's going to be fine. He opened a package for you that was a bomb. There was a letter attached to it, but it exploded too. I know we said it was fireproof, but it went out a window. We don't have it anymore. Seemed important. Anyway, you got any mysteries? Any important mysteries to solve? I expected that character, by the way, to Mrs. Doubtfire be the Riddler. She was so because of how calm and weird she was in that moment.
Good.
I was like, is she gonna rip off a Riddler? Because that would have got me.
If I was Batman in that situation, I would have felt a little offended that my murder was so unelaborate.
Yes. Right?
Like,
yes,
the mayor, he breaks into his house, beats him to death with a carpeting tool, cuts off his thumb, attaches it to a USB stick, does this whole rigmarole. The police commissioner, he puts him in a device with a bunch of hungry rats. The DA sets the bomb on his neck and has him do the whole thing in the memorial service. Bruce Wayne, it's mail him a bomb. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Keep it basic.
Very simple.
KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
I I did like that Bruce Wayne was like, oh, I'm one of the guys. And I think that gets played in a very funny way later on. Not funny, but like there's a very fun moment there. It reminded me of Batman 66, where Bruce Wayne is captured and also he has to like get out and then be Batman because the guys are looking for. You remember that? Or it's the opposite, maybe. I can't remember. I think it's Bruce Wayne gets captured and the villains are like, watch out, Batman might come. And you're like, yeah, that's funny. I don't know. Like, nice little dramatic irony there. But yeah, Batman doesn't explode because he doesn't read his mail. I'm sure if Bruce Wayne read the mail, he wouldn't do that, right? He's a little bit smarter.
He's too paranoid. There's like no way.
I'm surprised he doesn't have some kind of like high-tech mail scanner that can be like, oh yeah, that's a bomb.
Right? Yeah.
He's a low-tech Batman. He's a low-tech Batman.
Except for his super advanced video camera contact lenses.
And
right?
Like,
that's the only thing we can point to.
And his skydiving thing that comes out of nowhere.
His wingsuit, his jet-powered Batmobile.
Yeah, his grappling hooks that are just like kind of like within his little, like, I don't know. They're guns, but they also seem to live in his sleeves, maybe? Couldn't tell what was going on there. Also, someone pointed this out, and I still don't have a good answer for it, because I've been told an answer, but I don't buy it. What's with those things on his forearms?
Like they're like not arrows, but like little mini spears. I know that sounds silly, but that's like all I can think of.
They're like little darts on his arm.
Yeah, dart. Yeah.
They look like They look like interchangeable screwdriver heads for when he has to do different screwdrivering. And like I remember seeing them the first time we saw this costume, which I believe was when they were filming the motorcycle outro. And like they filmed that in real life, like in the later day, and people got to look at it and they were like, "Oh, it's an interesting costume. What the fuck is that thing?" And the answer is, it's not really anything. It's just kind of there.
Yeah,
that was weird. But yeah, because I did like the rest of the suit a lot. I think without that, and maybe without the cowl for me, the best bat suit easily. I still think it's probably the best bat suit, but.
You didn't, not even Bale's bat suit?
I didn't like any of Bale's bat suits completely.
Really?
I think the first one is cool, but super rubbery and like super, like again, you just can't turn your neck around, and I think that's crazy.
Sure.
And then the second and third ones felt just like kind of segmented body armor too much. They were kind of over-designed in that way.
It was our most tactical Batman.
Yeah, I think Ben Affleck probably is the second best one, just because his suit was like pretty simple. He looked like he could move around in it. The movie's bad, but I think the suit was cool.
Yeah.
It showed off his big giant pecs and all the CrossFit stuff, you know. So that's that makes sense for his
fit.
Yeah.
The most important thing is that Batman has pecs. Nothing else matters, Nando.
That's true. Yeah. What did we think of what did we think of the Catwoman stuff with the Maronis and all that, or Falcones? Jesus Christ. Yeah. What do we think of that? I'll never get it right. As previously stated, I liked that stuff. I like how it ended up somewhat paralleling Batman and his journey in this movie and helped him connect with her. I think it added a little bit of pathos. I do feel like they maybe shorthanded her bit with her girlfriend ? A little bit too much, where it's just while she's stealing the money, she just finds the body in the bag, also coincidentally. But other than that, I liked her. I like Zoe Kravitz in the movie. I think that until the last 30 minutes, it's interwoven well with the rest of the plot. It's good stuff. Well, and that is my kind of thing with when we get to the end of her story, and it's like Falcone is my dad, and this is a whole thing, and like this is why I want revenge on him, kind of for what he did to my mom. And it's like, no, it's because of the girlfriend thing from earlier. Did you forget? Or not like you even forget, but like you have personal stakes here. We don't need more personal stakes. We could have them, I guess, but like we don't need them. And then at the end, it's like he didn't even know it was her dad. I, for a second, like in the beginning, I was like, oh, he knows it's a, and that's why he's kind of keeping her around. And we kind of read the flirting as flirting, but in reality, he was kind of doing a dad thing. But no, he just wanted to fuck his daughter. He's got a little bit of incest stuff in there.
Yeah, I also thought that was supposed to be a reveal of like, oh, that was him telling his daughter to come around more often. But no, yeah, I guess he actually had no idea.
News to him. So that's fun.
Yeah.
How about the end? Let's talk about the end.
The end.
Okay. Which one? Which of the 5 endings you want to talk about?
Maroni or Falconian. Let's do that one first.
Okay. Catwoman's like, I guess I gotta kill my dad. It's come to this.
Yeah, I think we've all had a point in our lives where we're like, well, I guess I gotta kill my dad now. Am I right, fellas?
Well,
yeah.
I guess I gotta kill Catwoman's dad
exactly
now.
Right.
Well, I guess I gotta kill Lenny Kravitz. Oh, well. Well, and then you get an email. It's like, well, I guess I gotta kill Jason Momoa now. This just doesn't end. It never fucking ends. Always a new dad.
Always.
But yeah, I hear they're patching things up. Good for the two of them.
I am happy about that. He seems like a decent guy, and obviously she's cool. So go for it. But yeah, the movie is good. What were we gonna say? Oh yeah. So what'd you think of that fight? I liked all the bits where Batman casually walks into the club and like walks around like it's normal, and everybody's like kind of confused. It's almost like it's so there's so much shit going on that it's like a Batman guy is here. That can't be the real one. Is that
right?
like is this like a thing? Did we forget tonight's Batman night at the club? But no, that's the real one.
It's super bizarre. It's super bizarre.
I loved it.
But I mean, like they did that in The Dark Knight, right? Where they have like Batman just like waltzing through the club after Gordon, quote unquote, dies. So it's not like it's unprecedented. It's still weird. And
when
like
is that
part, it was
Knight?
so. He goes to get Maroni. He's walking in it's like. I'll tell you, like the cop goes, I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be whoever's on the Batman's bad list tonight. And he's like walking through this like raving club to get, I think it's Maroni, right? I can't remember who.
Sounds
it is
right.
to get.
I don't remember, but yeah, I think you're right.
But anyway, yeah, like it. I guess my point is, it's not unprecedented, but this one was a lot more prolonged. Yeah.
And I also, after the movie, I went to a Target real quick to pick up some things. Found myself walking just like the Batman. That like really shouldery like runway walk that he was doing. I don't think I was doing that, but I was like, am I doing that? I don't know. He walks with purpose. I appreciate that.
It really does.
I found that I was putting a bunch of mascara haphazardly over my entire eyelids, and then anytime somebody said something to me, I would just kind of like turn my head 45 degrees and just stare at them for a few seconds before I would like turn back and not respond.
Love it.
It's important for dominance to do that.
Absolutely. DJ, what do you do that's like the Batman?
What do I just like the Batman? I think that that when I meet someone who tells me that their friend might be in a sex trafficking ring or worse, I'm like, you know what, you want to make out? I think that's what makes me most like the Batman.
Hey, she definitely initiates.
That's true, yeah. And I mean, can you blame him? Look at that eyeshadow. We've already talked about it. Also, I was kind of confused about this. So he has his magic contacts, right? Mm-hmm. I was surprised they did not take that opportunity to white out his eyes as Batman. Because people often said, like, that's kind of a feature of the cowl in the comics, and you can't really do that exactly in live action, and they've tried, and it always looks dumb. Like in the end of Batman Returns or Batman Forever, where he has like the fucking sonic, I don't even know what it is. It's like a sonic batarang or something, and I don't know. But then they do it in Dark Knight also, where he has the sonic vision and the goofy glowing eyes. But like this, I was like, oh, this is it. But they didn't do it. But I don't know, it's fine. I didn't mind it too much.
Probably still would have looked a little too silly.
I think you're right.
Plus, it ended up being a plot point that you can't tell when they're in.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so they get Falcone, take him outside, and then what happens?
A penguin threatens to shoot him, and then there's a gunshot, and he's dead. The penguin killed him in front of all these police.
How could you do such a thing?
Yeah, and Penguin probably says something to the effect of, I didn't do nothing here. What are you talking about? I don't remember what it was, but like...
It was actually pretty close. It's like, It wasn't me!
I didn't even fire the gun!
Very, very clear.
And then it turns out that it was from the window instead. Now, that has always been the Riddler's lair, it seems.
Yes.
That is also where the pictures were taken.
Yes.
No one put that together.
I guess not. No.
Yes.
I guess not.
Yeah, right.
Okay. They say so. So yeah, another knock for Jim Gordon being the worst in this movie, worst detective. Also, I did like someone calling out the world's greatest detective line in a Batman movie. I thought that was terrific. And again, another great line from Colin and the Penguin. But yeah, so then we learn, then he gets arrested very casually at a coffee, getting a nice coffee.
He had a slice of pumpkin pie coming.
Yeah, so you could try the pie. How is the pie, by the way?
So good.
So yeah,
good.
and then we get the interrogation scene. What do you guys think of that? We've said we liked it. I do like it. I think it's fine.
It's fantastic. So much gravitas.
I don't know about fantastic, but I think it's fine.
I love the turn of it, which I've alluded to before, but now that we're here, I'll just describe it.
Yeah, which turn? Because I thought there were two.
I guess there are two. I was talking about the first one.
Okay, one that is interesting.
Yeah, where it seems like he's figured out who Batman is, and he's like going on about like Bruce Wayne. He's an orphan, but he's still a rich kid. Everything's gonna be fine for him. Other orphans, we had our fingers eaten by rats. And he's just, he's just saying like Bruce Wayne, and it looks like he's, talking to Batman like, hey, I know you're Bruce Wayne, but then the turn is he goes, at least we didn't get him, but we got everyone else. And he hasn't figured that out. He's just mad that they didn't kill Bruce Wayne because he's like, we were working together this whole time, right? Like, you knew what was going on, right?
Yeah. That was a fun turn. For me, it was a little bit like, he can't know, right? It can't, like, just the rules of this movie is like, I don't think he's allowed to know. Especially when Batman looked at the tape and or looked at the camera and it was running, and I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be a very different Batman universe. We're doing the, public public identity kind of thing. But yeah, that was not that, and that was interesting. Now he seems to take a lot of great pains to surveil everyone he is going to kill. The Riddler does.
Right.
Not ever done that with Bruce Wayne? Because I just figured he knows from that, right? Like, he went, and followed him down an alleyway once, and he put all his shit on.
I guess Bruce Wayne doesn't, in this movie, is a recluse, and he doesn't really leave Wayne Manor very often, and I can't imagine that the Riddler had an easy time trying to do any surveillance in Wayne Manor. So maybe he just...
Is that why he just sent him the bomb?
Yeah,
he had a whole
I
bunch of
guess
riddles
so.
planned, but he was just like, I don't know what kind of fucking shoes this guy wears, so I can't make the fancy shoe bombs I need and like his hat size. So he just had to.
I can't make a
just give him
pun
a
on
generic
soul and soul. It's
God
damn it.
Oh, I'm not even sure if he's a righty or a lefty. This isn't gonna work. Scrap it. Scrap the whole thing. Sending him a bomb. Because there was that moment where the Riddler was at the funeral. And Batman notices, Bruce Wayne notices the Riddler, and the Riddler seems to notice Bruce Wayne. And that was when, in my mind, I was like, oh, he does know. That's interesting. The Riddler now knows Bruce Wayne something. But yeah, it wasn't that at all. So, the next thing that happens after the Riddler gets interrogated. Well, so there's two turns, right? There's the first turn, the identity turn, which I liked. That was fun. What's the second turn?
Well, it turns out there was one more part to the Riddler's plan that he thought the Batman would have figured out by now. But Batman didn't, and so he's got to run back and be like, oh no, what did I miss?
Yeah. That was fun. I was like, what did we miss? Are the clues? Do the clues do some new thing? Like, is it... Because I feel like in the Batman movie, the first one with Riddler, he got all the clues, and then they led to something, and then Batman forgot that if you put all the clues together, they mean another thing. And I spent so much time between those two scenes going like, what is the thing that the mice and the thing have in common? And it turns out he has a secret map under his floor. And that's handy. And the whole the carpet thing.
Because he did the first murder with a carpet removing tool.
Yep.
And that was the clue.
Yeah.
Silly Batman not realizing that, he did the thing with a carpet tool.
I mean, like, not even just Batman not realizing it. Does no one know that? I mean, not like does no one know that, but like, yeah, did Batman not look at that and go, what is that? Or did he just go, ooh, a little shovel? Fancy shovel he has. Must spend a lot of time at the beach.
I did appreciate the right time aspect of like right time aspect of like the guy being like, I used to work on carpets. It's like,
love that.
Great.
Yeah, you knew the second he opened his mouth, it was like, oh, you have the secret. It's coming in this sentence is going to be what we've missed. I like that. Cops, man, you can trust them all the time. Always.
I did like that cop. I'm pretty sure was one who didn't like Batman earlier in the movie, so I did like that, showing some progression of the police getting a grudging respect for him.
That is nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
But then, so here's a question I have.
Okay.
Batman finds this out. He finds the secret map with the little lights. It's like blinking lights. And that is the location of all the trucks that are going to explode to flood the city. Because why not, huh? And Batman uses his computer. Like he puts the new Riddler video, password in, because that was something they were looking for before. And then everything explodes. Now, that's not set off by Batman.
No.
It's just a coincidence?
No, I don't think so, no.
It's
that it
just
was at that very
timing.
moment?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I felt like with the flash drive, the same kind of thing, where it's like, oh, if you press this button, that's when it actually starts. But that wouldn't make sense then with the Batman and the Riddler plan. So, yeah. What'd you guys think of his little video to his friends?
Creepy, so creepy.
Well,
oh my God.
kind of the point.
Yeah, I get it's the point, but regardless.
This serial killer with a following of people who want to do big murders is kind of creepy.
But also, he's kind of just like a guy. Like, he starts his video with like, "Hey guys, just want to give you some updates on the murder plan."
I know it's been a while since I updated this channel, so I just wanted to give you guys a few updates.
A lot of drama going on between me and Batman this week. Just want to clear the air.
By the way, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and if you really want to make sure you don't miss anything, hit that bell.
Yeah. He has 500 subscribers on this account. Why?
Yeah, on 8chan.
No more, no less. But it has to be either 2 or a billion. But I don't know.
Gotta set some realistic standards here.
Also, I feel like
he's unreasonable.
He has other videos on this account, right? Like, he's streamed other actual public videos.
Presumably,
yeah,
because he's posting videos
going down
publicly.
They don't let you keep doing that.
Yeah, probably.
Batman
not.
would have to break in at Google headquarters to find it, but I guess, yeah. I guess they were like, let's see what he's going on. Let's see where he's going with this. There was somebody at Google headquarters in like the Gothamverse just really into the Riddler, the whole riddles thing.
They actually in there they're so insulated from the outside world. They thought it was just some kind of super advanced ARG. They didn't realize he was a real murderer.
That makes sense. Oh my God! Does you think Riddler has NFTs?
Well, maybe he does.
I think he might. Thank God we missed that moment culturally for the Riddler to also have just a couple NFTs in his desktop. Maybe he did.
No, he does. It's called Nashton Family Trauma.
Nigma Family Trauma. Or Nashton, I guess. It's either one, right? Yeah.
Either one.
I forget what the explanation for that is. I think he changed it to Nigma just for the fun of it. I love that. That's great.
It's like, oh, this is a pun.
Yeah, like... Might as well go all the way with it, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So then the movie, I would say, kind of goes off the rails. We haven't talked about her yet, but there's another politician who has been doing political, like she's your, I don't know.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
AOC, kind of thing.
More typical reformer type than that, I think.
Yeah, I would say this movie has an interesting attitude towards, like, reforming generally. Like, what does this movie think reforming Gotham means? You know, we're not changing the system. We're just getting rid of the bad police. I feel like she's kind of the same way, where it's like, I gotta go all the bad police out and maybe get the foundation working. But besides that, I don't know, everything's probably pretty good as is.
Yeah, something like, I mean,
yeah.
Ultimately, that's kind of the movie also, so, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with Gotham. Is he can't fix it. It would not work. It would break all of these movies if at one point Gotham just didn't have that much crime because of substantial reforms to the policing system as a whole, as opposed to just like getting rid of the 8 or 9 crooked ones. So then the next movie wouldn't happen. But I would like to see that a little bit, maybe once or something. Nightwing could do it in Bloodhaven because it's not that interesting of a place. But like Gotham can't be good. It has to keep cranking out villains.
I feel like you can't name your city Bloodhaven, expect like it to be a good place to live, you know?
I mean, it's in Newark. It's like where Newark is, so you know, they probably like made it and was like just built the city and we're like, we gotta call this something scary. It's gonna be a not great place. It's in the middle of the swamp, like New Jersey. It's right between the swamp and the Pine Barrens. People are gonna die in the city.
Yeah, but it's like it's like if some colonial peoples in the 1700s went and founded their town in Pennsylvania or whatever and was like, and thus begins the city of Crimeburg.
Yeah, Lynchburg. That's what we'll call our city. That's a good name for a city. Yeah, we got a couple of those kicking around.
Yeah, those ones are real ones.
Yeah. But yeah, they what I was saying. Oh yeah, so there's this. It feels like her platform is just like the people in charge of Gotham before me were bad. I want to be in charge because I'm not bad, and they're all afraid to do things. It's time for real change.
It's time for leaders who will lead, and it's time for people to stand up and take charge. You know, it's all buzzwords, which it's fine. It's not the point of the movie.
Did she run against anyone in this race?
She was running against the incumbent mayor, but he was the first murder victim.
Right. And so did they replace him?
No, you can't. It was like 6 days before the election. They're like, that's too late. You can't replace them at that point.
That can't be the rules, though, right? Because
This
then it's
does
just
happen.
like...
No, this does happen. Yeah, there's just the dead person is still on the ballot. If they win, then there's a new election.
So, like, it's like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Because then if someone just decides to, like, oh, you know what? If I assassinate the evil mayor, the guy from, hit him with a little tiny shovel for carpets, that means the election goes this way. Like, that's crazy. But maybe that is how it works. I don't know. It would be weird, though, if they were like, we're actually going to change the election stuff, doing a special election next week. We're going to get a new candidate. And Riddler was like, oh, no. That's not when the bombs are going to go off. I can't fix them. Shit. But yeah, she does win. Good for her. She has her whole speech at Madison Square Garden, which, like, I guess they would do.
It's Gotham Square Garden or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
You heard correctly.
That's true. It's Gotham Square Garden. So the levees all explode, and water starts coming into the city. So that's the first part of the plan. Second part of the plan, what if she did lose, though? What if she still managed to lose and there was nobody there? That would be so funny.
You would still be holding a party. It's just it becomes not a victory party.
Yeah. But yeah, so it floods the whole city enough to get to the arena, pushes everybody in there because that's kind of like the response center where people should go, which, like, if you say so, doesn't seem like a great place to go, but it's where they all go. And then some of Riddler's guys there are going to shoot them.
Yep, just shoot everybody, basically.
What's the point of the flood?
It's just to... I guess they wouldn't have been able to break in because security would have been too tight. So when it's like a really chaotic, panicked situation with lots of people coming in and you got to get people places quickly, that gives them the opening to come do this.
Okay. That makes sense. So yeah, what'd you guys think of this whole thing?
So, I mean, as its own thing, I was perfectly fine with it. It was a cool action sequence with the fighting and everything. And I don't know. I think it worked on its own as it being the moment where he realizes, like the moment at the end after they've beaten them and the one guy is like, who are you? I'm vengeance. And he's like, oh no, that's the thing I say. Oh no. And realizing that he has to, change his approach because the way he was doing it is unhealthy and fosters these bad reactions. I liked that as its own little thing. I think as far as the overall flow of the movie goes, it is a little jarring and, it feels a little too much, but as its own thing, good.
Yeah, I think I mostly agree. I do think the whole, like, vengeance thing is a little, like, I get it, but also that's a lesson I feel like he has learned twice already in this movie. Once from the Riddler himself. So I that's why for me I was like, we're not getting anything here that we haven't already gotten. He saves people he doesn't want to save. He saved Falcone, so, like, that was big. And then, he learned the Riddler not so different you and I speech. So it's like, what are we getting out of Batman here besides him being a symbol of hope for the people of Gotham?
Yeah, that's true.
I guess.
Yeah,
that's like a new thing.
It was a point we had already gotten. You got a good point there. I think visually, the scene with him in the flare and the water was a really
that was
cool
good.
visual.
Yep. And I like throwing those guys off the thing, and then they just hung there like Spider-Man in the video games, where it's like every person he throws off a building, he also just attaches a little thing to that makes him bungee jump instead of die. So I like that he had those, but it was just set up for him already by the fact that they had him. And what was the other thing I was thinking? Oh, this is a weird little detail. What's the weird thing that happens in this scene? Kind of comes out of fucking nowhere.
What, the woman gets shot?
No, that part's cool though. No, something else.
Nando loves it when women get shot.
Oh my gosh. Non-fatally, of course, but yeah, like everybody in this movie, you could take a couple hits. You can get exploded with a bomb. You could take a gigantic... It's like a... And we see them load these humongous rounds into these... Like, yeah, her shoulder is gone. But no, it's so weird. I had heard someone mention this on Twitter. that something like this happens, and I was like, how? That can't work. And then it happens in this scene, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Is it Batman injecting himself with adrenaline?
Yeah, green adrenaline, much like Bane has adrenaline, but it's venom. And I heard people say it's venom, and I'm like, yeah, it kind of might be.
I'll be honest, I did think that.
Yeah, I did too. Also, because he gets all ragey. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of sometimes how Bane gets when he gets all overcome with rage. That was really weird to me.
It was a little strange, and I wasn't sure why I was in the movie. I was like, I don't know what this is adding.
Well, Diggins, it's funny that you say that, because I feel like at the end of this movie, it was laying breadcrumbs just to be, lead up for the next thing, which I know is something you've, railed against before in these movies, that you're just setting up the thing so there can be a next thing.
Well, there's a much worse version of that later in this ending, DJ.
But
that's what I'm talking about. Like, it seemed at the end of the movie that those things were like purposely laden within here,
Yeah, but I think with the Venom, if that was what they were doing, it would have been a little bit more opaque. Like, he would have, Alfred would have had a scene where he's like, Batman, you can't do all these things you want to do. And also that can't use that South American stuff. That isn't good. That's untested. And Batman will be like, oh, I don't know. I got it. Like, but there's none of that. It just comes. And if it were just adrenaline, if it were just like a needle, I'd go, it's adrenaline. But it's green. It's really strange. I believe, officially according to stuff, it's adrenaline. But, yeah, I don't know.
Not a lot of people know this, but adrenaline is green.
Is it?
Yeah.
Like a glow stick?
It's like Play-Doh glow stick green. It's so weird. It's just naturally that color.
It's like Coca-Cola, and they dye it brown, but it would be green if left to its own devices. I do think the way that this movie ends is also very Nightfall, where Bane, there's just like that comic where Bane basically does Dark Knight Rises kind of, and like Gotham is on its own and everything's fucked, and Batman has to deal with that. And I was like, oh, is that what the next one of these is going to be? Are we jumping right into Nightfall? But I doubt that. But yeah, we did like Nightfall Jr., where a little bit of water got up to everyone's knees and chaos ensued. Yeah. Was it about climate change? Was that something?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Because otherwise, Adam McKay would have tweeted it to me. Yeah. I just couldn't tell if I missed that tweet from him. Yeah, and Catwoman is good, and she does stuff. I don't know. It's fine. Let's talk about that scene Diggins hates. Diggins, what happened in that scene?
So, it's not just that there's the Falcone ending point and then this Riddler ending point that we were talking about before. It's after the Riddler thing, there's like 3 or 4 ending beats that I kept expecting to be the final shot. There's some stuff where he's doing narration again about how he needs to be the hope for the people of Gotham, which is pretty decent. There's like stuff with him and Catwoman saying goodbye because she's going to Bloodhaven. And there's like 3 different goodbye shots of them driving off together, then parting ways while driving off together. Then he looks in the rearview mirror at her while she's driving off. And that's all a little much, but it's all fine as far as these things go. The worst one, both because it kills the momentum, it should absolutely be the final thing and isn't, is between the Hope and the Catwoman stuff for some reason.
Yeah.
And also because I hate it.
I also hate it, and I am a Marvel shitlord, so I think you're justified, very much so.
Is the Riddler is in Arkham, being all upset because his plans were foiled. When you hear the voice of a young Droog, I don't know. Reassuring him.
I think it's Druid, but I don't know. I always read it as Druid, but with the G. But it could totally be Droog. I don't know.
Druid.
I thought it was Druid.
Let's go with Druid. Reassuring Riddler, it wasn't bad. And he did a pretty good job. At the end of the day, maybe Batman made you look like a clown. But there's worse things to be than a clown. And at that point, you're like, oh, come again?
Yeah, give it to me. Let's get it. Come on.
How do we keep making this mistake?
They can't help themselves. I don't know.
We all love the Joker. The Joker's a great villain. Okay, we can acknowledge this. Every time?
Every time.
I know.
That's the rules. Every time.
It's not like Batman's a villain who's... it's not like Batman's a character who is hurting for great, well-known villains. He and like Spider-Man are the two where it's like they have so many. You could do so many different things.
But also, you could do the Joker. People like him. They just made that Joker movie about him.
Continue to do
And they just shoehorned him into the end of the fucking Snyder Cut, which we all kind of forgot about. But man, that was... Remember that?
Yeah.
Reach around, all that stuff? That was great.
I guess I can say at least it's not either Jared Leto or Joaquin Phoenix. They spared me that much at least.
I didn't even know there was a new casting for the Joker. I had no idea.
I feel like I told you guys about this.
You might have, and then I blocked it out in my brain for self-preservation.
So, exactly.
I don't think I said it was Joker, but I did say that this actor's brother went on Twitter and said, my brother's the Joker. He's the fucking Joker. Cool as hell for me. I didn't say Joker, and I didn't say which actor, but like, yeah.
You did say this.
This was like
I remember
a year ago, too. It's been, and it was everybody was like, but that can't be it, right? He can't be telling the truth. And then by the time you get to the end of the movie, you're like, oh, good. They cut that out because that was not true. But it is true. He is the Joker. It was great. It was great stuff. They put the Joker in it.
I mean, fine. But I guess if it's if it ends up being a great take on the Joker, then great. I'm happy to see it. But
I can't imagine there's another take. I feel like we've done every single take.
It's a combination of the content of the scene and its placement. Like this is a post-credit scene. We make fun of post-credit scenes because there's way too many of them and a lot of them are not necessary, whatever. This is a scene that has nothing to do with the actual denouement of the movie, like emotionally. It is purely there to tease a thing happening in another movie. This is exactly what a post-credit scene is for, but it's in the middle of the ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wild. Also, this means, so I believe, from what I've read, people that have talked about this, he is in the movie. He was captured a year ago by Batman, but he is not the Joker yet. He's a guy with a weird face who laughs and I guess like has decided the clown motif is part of it, but he hasn't done Joker stuff. But he is in Arkham whatever, like the Arkham super bad ward. So I don't know what that means. This guy like steal a car? He build a big gumball machine, but not do Joker stuff with it and get arrested before he could put on his Joker stuff?
He went on a late night talk show and killed the host because they got what he fucking deserved.
Was the host wearing a striped shirt?
No.
And heart-shaped sunglasses? Okay, different host? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
because that reminds him of himself. I was curious about this when we saw the first bit where the Batman beats up those thugs, because they kind of looked like Joker goons a little bit.
They did, yes. I loved the idea of, like, if you live in Gotham, sometimes you go on the subway and there's just a bunch of fucking assholes in clown makeup and you gotta just sit there like, oh, man.
Another day in Gotham.
They better not beat the shit out of me before I get off this subway.
Yeah. But yeah, it was so yeah, we got a Joker. Hooray. That means he'll probably be the bad guy of the next one instead of an interesting guy. That's a bummer. Also, this Riddler is pretty much the Joker. Or like, I feel like the interesting take on the Joker is what we just did with Riddler. Where it's like, he's doing the right thing and getting rid of the people, but with the wrong, stuff. The wrong methods. But yeah, I don't know. The Riddler and Joker to me have always been too similar, generally, to like be number 1 and number 3 in Batman's villain rankings.
To be fair, this movie was originally supposed to be a Batfleck movie where he fought Deathstroke, so who knows what the sequel to this will be by the time it's done.
That's true. Hopefully that Flash movie will have come out by then. but maybe not.
I don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
in the spirit of the Flash, it'll be a constantly moving target, always moving forward, too fast for us to catch up with.
Ah, that would be great. Yeah, the post-credits scene, or the stinger thingy was bad. I like Barry Keoghan as potentially him, though. He'll probably be a good Joker as just like he's a weird little kid. He'll probably have a good scene with what's his name? With the Penguin, right? Because he killings of a sacred deer to him before.
I guess.
And they were in a movie together, so like that's fun. I don't know. Yeah. But I don't know. If you guys got to pick, you want the next villain to be. You can't say Joker, obviously. I mean, you could, but that's wrong.
You could, but it's the wrong answer.
Yeah, you could, but it's not a good answer. And
Like I'm trying to think of
Superman.
someone who we haven't seen. I would like to see a different take on the Scarecrow, like more traditional Scarecrow than like what they did in Batman Begins. Although that was like a fine.
Yeah, Scarecrow is kind of interesting.
And different enough from like the Riddler.
Yeah, I think we're in the right spot for a Two-Face. Our district attorney is dead. But the problem here is I don't think we can do it. I think we should do a full movie with Harvey Dent before we Two-Face him. So
Okay.
I think that would be the third one. And if this is the Long Halloween, like that's a Two-Face story, so that makes sense.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know who else I would want.
I'm
I don't know if this universe can support a Poison Ivy or a Mr. Freeze, but they'd be
I like to see
interesting.
him try. Mr. Freeze more than Poison Ivy.
Yeah, I think
Guys,
so too.
I wonder if it's just because like Schwarzenegger's like untouchable.
Guys, it's Calendar Man.
Oh shit, that'd be awesome.
Let's go.
Yeah, and the Clock King and all of those guys. Also, when Pattinson was not in outfit, like when he was not in his Batman outfit, when he was just in clothes, his face reminded me a lot of Polka Dot Man's face. It's like I was like, well, it's not the same, but it's close. Yeah, I don't know. Because they can't do, I mean, they could do like the ventriloquist dummy guy, but that wouldn't really make any sense because we just got done with Mobsters. Can't do Black Mask because we just did him.
Well, in
feel
a
like we're
completely
far-
different movie.
Yeah. And
But he's also just like a mob boss guy, so, you know.
yeah, he only is interesting in a world where he takes over from Falcone, but Penguin just did that. So, yeah, I don't know.
Man-Bat.
You could do Man-Bat.
Let's
I think
go.
I
Let's
think they
go.
could do a supernatural, like, werewolf kind of horror story thing. I think it's Poison Ivy just controlling the plants with her mind is where I think that's the one thing they can't do. I think they could do Clayface too, as like
I would love a Clayface.
super monster face man. And I guess there's Bane too. Did they take another shot at Bane, make him a South American prisoner guy? But see, the thing
Give
with
him a
Bane,
regular voice.
yeah, or make him do that accent again. Just everyone's got
It's
a good
such a
Bane
hit.
voice. Yeah, but the problem with that is Riddler is the big plotting, like, oh, came up with the greatest plan ever to beat you, Batman. I feel like we need a villain that's not quite that again, and Bane is kind of that. It's a more physical
Right.
version of that, but yeah. I don't know. Probably Joker, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's like the Joker and Penguin team up that we've been waiting for. Break Riddler out of, unless they want to do Arkham Asylum, but like
That'd be
flood
cool.
the zone with villains. Be like, actually, they were all there.
Well, I mean, that is what Nightfall is, right? Bane sends all of Batman's villains at him and then beats the shit
Right.
out of him after that. And that's also what Hush is. Now, we haven't really talked about it, but at one point, the word Hush goes over Bruce Wayne's face. And you're kind of like, Hush? We're doing Hush now? And it's not that. But, like, you could do that,
Yeah.
maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, the thing is, like, all the interesting answers I can think of, I think about what they would be like in this universe, and I was like, well, they would just be this again, wouldn't they?
Yeah. It's tricky. I do think Two-Face is probably the smart move. But then if you're doing Joker and Two-Face, then that's the Dark Knight again.
Yeah.
It's hard because we've had so many permutations of like Batman movies. It's hard to do like the new thing.
Yeah. How about, hey, here's an idea. We made a good Batman movie, and that's it. We don't need to do another
That would
one.
be amazing.
That's
oh my
what they should
god.
do,
Yeah, it'd
yeah.
be so cool. And then do something different. Like do Batman Beyond or something. Like something completely different. Shift the energy away and like, yeah. But I could see a movie where Joker sets all the like lower level guys on Batman, like Man-Bat and Killer Croc, a big giant one that's cool, not like the dinky one from Suicide Squad and stuff, and then fights Batman. And then maybe a third one we get Harvey Dent. I don't know. But yeah, they should stop making them. I mean, this movie
DC
made a
can't
lot.
help himself.
And it made a lot of money. I'm sure it's going to sell a lot of Penguin toys to me and probably other people, but mostly me. It's going to be pretty good.
Gonna sell a lot of Penguin TV shows to you.
Well, yeah, that too. We're getting the Arkham, or not Arkham, we're getting a Gotham PD spinoff, which has been described as Arkham Horror, like, something thing. Not like Arkham Horror, but you know what I mean? Like an Arkham Asylum-based horror thing.
Yeah. Not Lovecraftian.
No, yeah, not like that. Although maybe. And then we're getting Penguin, or like whatever that is. They're apparently different. So what the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Penguin could fight like Ventriloquist and Black Mask and some of the more mobby Bat villains, and you know, there's something there. I don't know. Should this? Here's the only other question I have. Should this Batman get a Robin?
Go for it. Take the swing. Why not?
I think it actually would kind of make sense with the trajectory of his character in this movie, where
Me too.
He kind of is opening himself up more, and he also seems to have a special empathy. Like they really draw attention to the fact that like when it comes to kids who get orphaned, he has a lot of understandable empathy for them.
Yeah.
So I think it could work.
I could see a version of this where he adopts a kid, maybe do, I mean, you could do Tim Drake, or not Tim Drake. You could do like regular, one, but you could also do like Jason Todd, where like poor kid that kind of finds him and then tags along a lot. And it's like, he's not introducing this kid to Batman, or the kid just keeps showing up there. Oh, fuck, I guess you gotta be Robin now. That would be interesting. Someone suggested Cassandra Cain as the like optimal Bat protege character for him, and I think there's something there.
Well, I mean, she was robbed when she got to be Robin, so it would be nice for her to get a new swing at it.
And she's connected to know what?
That her or
the
Stephanie
other
Brown?
villains.
Who's the one who got
you
robbed?
think it's Stephanie Brown?
I
mean, they've
Brown.
both kind of gotten robbed. She went. Cassandra Cain went from Bat. Like, she didn't even do Robin. She just went straight to Batgirl. And then she's also kind of called Orphan sometimes, which is the other word that kept kind of making me go like, what? Is that what we're doing? But no. What was I going to say? You could go the League of Shadows route. You could do fucking Talia al Ghul and Lady Shiva and some of his more, assassin-y villains. And then Cassandra Cain becomes part of it. But, yeah, I don't know. I can only see him with the Robin.
Yeah, I mean,
who can say?
If we've got to do more of these, then I could say it.
That's the rules.
Yeah.
We got to do one of these, otherwise, like, the Earth explodes. Or like,
you can't just do one of these anymore. It has to be a whole franchise that they could make $1 quadrillion off of, or it's not worth doing.
However, I am kind of excited for the Penguin show now that I talk about it. Like, now that I've talked about how much I love the Penguin, I think this show might be sick.
I guess we'll find out.
And I like Jeffrey Wright too. Real. I don't know. I'm
sure the Penguin is very flattered by you being excited for his show. I don't know. Maybe his throat hurts and he doesn't want to show up again. He doesn't want to be on any more podcasts because talking like he does makes his throat hurt.
Because of all the fatty fish he eats, that makes him. Yeah, it doesn't do good stuff for your throat. All that oil. Well, speaking and throats and using your throat to make noises to do something, you guys want to head to our classic segment?
Yeah,
I would love that.
All right, you guys have anything to use your mouth, throat, and recommend to the fine people, DJ?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna recommend a video game for the Nintendo Switch. It's a little game called Triangle Strategy, and I know what everyone's thinking. Triangle Strategy? That's not Elden Ring or Mario. That's correct. It is, however, a tactical JRPG. And
that was what I was thinking.
Such a fan of tactical JRPGs. Really, it's an RPG. It's not much JRPG about it.
Can you imagine if the Triangle Strategy game was like something else, anything but a JRPG? It's like it's a football game. I guess that would make sense. Anyway, go on.
If it's paper football. Okay, so yeah, it's a run-of-the-mill tactical RPG. It's in like a fictional medieval setting where there's these three kingdoms. Here's the thing with this game. I think that the storytelling in this game is really, really good. I think it's on par with that Fire Emblem game that everyone loved. Whichever one. Pick your Fire Emblem game you love.
Houses, baby.
Sure, why not? I think it's on par with that. I think that the class system is good. I think that the different unique combat things they put in that are different from some Fire Emblem games are really good. There is no permadeath, so it's great for a weenie like me who's like, no consequences, hooray. So some people might not like that. It's not as challenging without the permadeath, or like I don't think there's any kind of like iron mode or anything like that. But I've certainly been enjoying it most because of the story. It's a good Switch game, to play on the couch while you're like watching TV or, while you're taking a break from playing Elden Ring. But I've certainly been enjoying it. I will say, like, I'm a sucker for tactical RPGs. Like, I will play as many tactical RPGs as I get my hands on. So is it for everyone? Probably not. But if you do like it, maybe give it a try. There is a demo, I think, still on the Nintendo eShop, so you can like try it, and your demo progress carries if you buy the game, so you don't have to play it all over again. So at least that's nice. So yeah, I'm gonna throw that out there as my recommendation.
I don't understand this concept of not playing Elden Ring.
I know, it's impossible, right?
Weird.
Who would not play Elden Ring?
Very weird. I don't care for it, DJ, and I'd like you to uninstall this game. That's penance.
All right.
Your crimes.
Uninstalled.
All right.
I'm not getting my money back, but it's fine.
That was really fast. It can't be. I guess it's not that big.
It's just a triangle.
It's a tactical RPG, Diggins. Come on,
simple.
you know how this works.
Diggins, what about you? Got anything to recommend?
I do. Just a quick little one here because I have been playing Elden Ring constantly. Which means I haven't had as much time for the movies or the TV shows or what have you, but I did watch something that was longer than most movies.
Oh.
Because H Bomber Guy dropped a new video about Deus Ex Human Revolution, and all of his... It's not like Deus Ex Human Revolution is terrible. The title is Deus Ex Revolution, or Deus Ex Human Revolution is fine, and here's why. Because he doesn't hate it. He thinks there's a lot of cool choices in it, but he also feels like the design is kind of weird and undercuts itself a lot, which I had no real opinion on because I wasn't super attached to Deus Ex Human Revolution. But it's just, if you just want a comprehensive look at game design as a concept, it's a great video for that. It really made me want to play the original Deus Ex, which he's very complimentary towards, but I'm still in the Elden Ring mines, so maybe when that's over in 6 months.
You're damn right, son.
Yeah, and Diggins, because you mentioned it, I'd like you to uninstall the Deus Ex games, because just so that you don't have any temptation to play anything but Elden Ring.
Way ahead of you.
Very good. Very, very good. Cool.
But yeah, it's a cool video. If you like his stuff, you should watch that. Nando, what is your rec this week?
So when you said longer than a movie video, I thought you were maybe going to say, because one of the things that I was going to recommend this week, I watched a YouTube channel, I think the name of it is just Sean, but they made a video about why Harry Potter is bad. And basically...
Yes, I wanted to watch that.
It's good. It's mostly about, like, they kind of use a couple of things in the books to go like, see, this is like bad. This is not good. But I would say the thing that he keeps coming back to that is the most interesting is how the books and movie deal with the idea of slavery as a system that exists within Harry Potter and just nobody cares about. And when one person cares about it, everybody's like, what a nerd. So it's really interesting because of that. And it reminded me of how stupid Harry Potter is. Sometimes there's some things about it that are cool. But when they start talking about the slavery, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that's right. And these guys are all like good, nice slaves that love it so much that don't even take their slavery away. It's their natural state. It's wild. So I would watch that video. The other thing...
The best part is the guy who's like, his whole thing is like he's crazy in love with magical creatures to the point that other people think he's a weirdo for how much he like loves and defends clearly dangerous magical beings and their right to exist. And then when it comes to the slaves, he's like, yeah, but they like it, so that one's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's their genetic predisposition to like slavery. Of course, well, you know.
Like, it would actually be cruel to make them not be slaves because they love it so much.
Yeah. I think he talks about it in terms of being like the neoliberal kind of magic hero, and like how that is kind of it seems to be what J.K. Rowling, just where she falls generally on this, like, and I think this, you could kind of say this is kind of neoliberal Batman. Batman's always been this, where it's like, we don't have to fix the policing system, we just need to get rid of the corrupt police, and like Harry Potter is that, but at the end he becomes a cop and he orders his slave around. That's the last line of the movie. Anyway, so I'm not recommending Harry Potter movies and the books. I'm recommending that video by Sean. Other thing I'm going to recommend, I watched a show that I kind of thought DJ would recommend, because I have a feeling you've seen it, or if you haven't, you should watch it. There's actually 2 pretty good shows on HBO this week. First one was The Pirates Show with Rhys Darby. I think it takes a little while to get going, but it's pretty funny. But the second one is Winning Time, the show about the Lakers. I gotta watch Winning Time. Fucking rules. Yeah. Oh my God. I think there's something about Adam McKay, like that editing that just works for me, that I totally understand if it doesn't work for everybody else, where like every every character turns to camera and goes like, I don't like that guy, and whatever. But this just, oh my God, it was perfect. It's John C. Reilly is so well cast. If it's true that Will Ferrell and Adam McKay aren't friends anymore because he wanted John C. Reilly for this and not Will Ferrell, then that was worth it. Good call.
Wow.
Wow. Really? I mean, I'm sure Will Ferrell could do it, but like John C. Reilly, the thing about John C. Reilly is, besides the fact that he's just kind of a weirder dude, he's also like strangely more of a normal guy, and like that's the charm of this character, where it's like the Bus is his name, where it's like he is coming into this, and I think the pitch for the show kind of is like he's coming into this basketball, NBA system that's run by old stuffy white guys, and he comes in as like he's still white, but he's like younger and he's less stuffy, and he's like, I want to make basketball fun, and they don't want him to. Then the Magic Johnson kid is also great. It's crazy that Magic Johnson is like, I couldn't, like, I just watched the whole thing and I was like, oh yeah, he's alive. Like he probably helped make the show. It's crazy, Oh,
I think, no, Magic Johnson was against the show.
Oh, he doesn't like it.
No, because him and I think Pat Riley are working on their own Lakers documentary.
Oh, okay.
On the Showtime Lakers. So
gotcha.
He, like, all of the Lakers principals, like, like anyone who was on the Lakers at the time was like, yeah, this isn't good. Oh, and Jeannie Buss, Dr. Buss's daughter, they're like, yeah, this isn't good. We're making our own documentary. It's much better.
Interesting.
So,
I disagree. I don't think their thing is going to be better than this. But I don't know.
There's probably right.
There's something about the way it's presented when you just where like you just assume everyone involved is like long dead. And it's like, no, Magic Johnson was just in that picture with that guy recently. That was why everybody got in trouble. And I was like, oh yeah, he's still going. But so yeah, I liked it. I think that show is very fun. Only 1 episode out, so like pretty. And I think pretty quickly you'll be like, I like this or I don't, and just go with that impulse. But yeah, so really dug those.
Do you think they couldn't name it Showtime because it's on HBO? They're like, we will not have a show named Showtime.
Ooh, that's a good point. I don't like the name Winning Time. I think that's a dumb name.
Right.
But I mean, it's kind of part of it, but yeah, I don't know. It's
called The Lake Show.
So
another option.
It's based on a book, which I did download because someone on Twitter was like, I said, like, this show is my shit. And they were like, you should read all this guy's books because they're all pretty good. And they're all like really good sports books. And I love Michael Lewis. The name's Jeff Pearlman. So yeah.
Okay. Yep.
The name of the book that it's based on is Showtime. So they probably just couldn't name it that for that reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a shame because that is a much better name. But yeah, I liked it. I think it's very cool. I also think it's got a very good 70s aesthetic that is super fake and like, there's like lots of fake film grain added, but it gives it this weird, like, I don't know, like real fakeness to it that, I don't know, makes it very easy to connect to. So anyway, I'd recommend it. It's on HBO. It's a good time.
Nice.
Speaking of good time, what are we going to do next week, fellas?
What are we doing next week?
Yeah, I mean, we're white guys, so we're not allowed to watch the movie about the little Canadian girl.
Well, we're allowed to watch it.
We can watch it. I just don't know if it's like
Right. We don't like
Yeah,
it.
We can nitpick it.
Next week we'll just all be here and like, yeah, because it's about a Asian teenage girl, I just couldn't relate to it at all. I just couldn't
relate.
My only feelings about this are that it's not. I look at a person and like they're not me. So how am I supposed to enjoy this?
That is a big problem. So yeah, but we might do that. Do that movie. Might say all those things. Probably not. I don't know.
Second Twilight movie?
We could do those. I don't know. It depends. I guess we'll kind of see if this Turning Red movie hits. Not necessarily if it's good, but like we didn't do like Luca or Soul. Yeah.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, we'll see if it like makes an impression. Because like we did Onward, so we don't never do these like animated straight to Disney Plus movies. But we don't always do them either. I don't think we did Soul. It came out the same week as Wonder Woman, and I think we were all just like we probably wouldn't have much to say.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
we could start paying down some movie debt. We could do like an emoji movie.
We could do an emoji movie.
Pay some movie debt. Speaking of movie debt, by the way,
oh my God, we did it!
It's that time of year.
Apparently.
For our annual March Madness bracket competition. I will tweet out the details. The brackets are available to start being filled out this Sunday, and you have like you have such a short time because like Selection Sunday to when the tournament starts is only like 4 days or something like that. So you have a really short time to fill it out. But the options will be up Sunday. I will tweet out all the details. If you were in the ESPN league last year, you just rejoin. It's the same league. You get 2 free entries, and if you win, you get to pick a movie. So yeah, it's that time again.
Very cool.
Do your best.
I can't wait. I don't know any of the teams, so I'm just gonna kind of take a shot.
Did you see the thing that like Coach K lost to North Carolina in like the last game home at Duke?
No, I did not see that.
It was very funny. It was a super egg on face moment. It was a very like best actor Chadwick Boseman.
Oh my God! Like, did Anthony Hopkins do the final dunk? Just like windmill.
Exactly. He's like, take this, Coach K. Like they had this like big ceremony set up for it's Coach K's the coach of Duke like final game here. So they had like a big pregame and a big ceremony, and like they had a ton of former Duke players there. And Duke lost to North Carolina, their biggest rival. So yeah,
that's so funny.
Pretty good stuff.
Oh, I love it. I love that.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. So. Anyway, so yeah, find us on the on that find the Final Four thing, fill yours out, and maybe you can make us watch a movie in 2 or 3 years. You never know. Yeah,
I mean, as far as debt goes, I think it's Emoji Movie, and then we're like Square, right? I don't think we have too many others.
I couldn't remember if we owed a movie to Roger for donating to Extra Life.
They can tweet at us and remind us because they have if they do. I will trust you, Roger. You have more what's the word? Honor than I have. Like if you say you did, then you probably did. DJ, do you have anything to plug?
Just check out Roses and Rejections this week. We covered the fantasy suites where the Bachelor Clayton did one of the biggest heel turns ever that we talk about, and it's bananas. So check it out.
I've heard him talking about it, and it is bananas.
I believe, Nando, your words were that Clayton is the real hero.
He is a hero. He just loves too much. That is the problem. You know? They shouldn't have let him on this show. What, are we going to throw him in jail
for being in love?
Yeah.
It's like that Queen song that the guy wrote about why he cheated on his wife all the time.
Oh, is that true? That's pretty cool.
Too much love will kill you, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So then that's what it is. I mean, to be fair, Clayton probably loved all 16 girls, so he tried to suppress that, and it just bubbled it to 3. And he was just like, I can't. My head is going to explode from love. He's just the nicest, most loving man. Oh, yeah. Diggins, what about you? Anything to plug?
Just my usuals. I have my newsletter, a little perspective.substack.com, and I stream sometimes on twitch.tv/this is an odd name.
I have video coming out soon about X-Men villains and stuff. Making a lot of progress on that. Very nice. It's fun. The X-Men villains are great. unlike the Batman villains, they're all doing different shit and they're all weird. And it's like, how do you even know each other? Why do you and you all fight the same bunch of guys? I find that fascinating about some of these guys, where it's like with Batman villains, you're like, yeah, they all kind of see each other as peers. You'd expect, but with this, it's like, you're from fucking space, and you're from ancient Egypt, and you're just some guy with some fire sometimes. And it's, yeah, so love it. It's great. So when that video comes out, it's on my YouTube channel. Also, I have been on Twitch streaming me drawing those guys on my whiteboard for the backgrounds of each take. So if you go to twitch.tv/NandoVMovies, you can watch me do that. I usually just do it for like, an hour or whatever, put on some music in the background, and it's for a chill kind of thing. That's all I got, though. So next week, who knows? We'll see. Something cool. And until then, I'm at Nando Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Woohoo! Love you.